Where's my Grammy at? God dang it. Where's my Grammy? How y'all doing, boys and girls, scholars and laymen, to the wakish and the wokish and the sleepish, to the people and the sheeple. This is your brother Ron, another We All Be News Free Dixie for the 21st century. I'm gonna see y'all listen loud and clear. Where my grandma at? Hey, we're gonna have an interesting show tonight. Made it before 10 o'clock, but we should go easily 2 hours. It's a lot to talk about in the news. News that you cannot really use, you can lose. If it's news that you cannot really use, you should lose it. Hey, K Duckworth, sister. K Duckworth, how you doing down there? It's nice to see you, or to be seen and heard by you. What's going on, sister? But anyway, man, I'm gonna give y'all some shows to do. Normally, I gotta. It's tough right now. 2021 has been an interesting year. We survived 2020, but you know, there's a lot of stuff going on. Just want y'all to keep the faith and hold on, be strong and hold on, because it's just one hell of a ride. I would tell you that right now. So what are we going to talk about tonight? Let me see. Before we get into that, let me check out, see everything's good to go. See everything's good to go. I'll try to be on my best behavior. I'll try to be on my best behavior. See, everything is good to go. Okay, everything like it's good for the most part. I know sometimes people say they have issues with my stream. When I look at it after everything's done, it's like the stream's okay. Sometimes you might have a couple of hiccups, but that comes along with the territory, with technology and whatnot, and anything that can happen, a lot of times will happen. So we just roll with the punches and see where it goes. And thank you, Rontavius. I think that's how you say poke. Thank you for chilling. Checking in. Thank you, Sister Duckworth, for just chilling like a villain, or like the Biden administration. This is interesting. Like, I really don't even think about Joe Biden majority of the time. To be honest with you, I be zoned out like I'm on heroin or something. But I thank God right now I'm not on any drugs or alcohol or addicted to pussycat right now, because I really be screwed up. You know, if I was on drugs and alcohol and addicted to pussycat, I would be messed up. It would not be whoppalicious. Hell, I can't get a whopper, let alone some whop. If your whop tastes like a whopper, I don't want it anyway. You understand? But anyway, that's another story. But Grammys, interesting. Yeah, James Newborn. You got going to South Memphis, going to what you call that place up in Massachusetts? That vacation spot whereby, I guess, well, hell, let's use a black reference. You like going to South Memphis, like going to the Inkwell. You know that movie Inkwell with Lorenz Tate in it, and Morris Chestnut, Nat King Cole on steroids. You know, he was all buffed out. You know, but then Jada Pinkett Smith, whatever her name is now. Yeah, you like going to South Memphis, like going to Inkwell. You know, Drake dad is from Memphis. I met Drake dad. He looked just like his dad, got the eyebrows and everything. So Drake, you know, Memphis is a very interesting place. And speaking of Memphis and speaking of Grammys, give a shout out to what is that vacation spot? Martha Vineyard. Damn, I got to educate the audience. Yes, Martha Vineyard. Yeah, it's like y'all like going to South Memphis, like going to Martha Vineyard. But you can listen to white people news, is like they think going to South Memphis or any part of Memphis like going to being on National Geographic, the way they make it sound. If I actually listen to news and believe everything I saw on news about my city, I would never come outside. You know, that's why I know media is a powerful thing. Like Malcolm said, it controls and influences the minds of the masses. Yes, thank you. Martha V, I got a very educated audience. Y'all are very hip to the game. Thank you, Chi-Town. We love you madly for tuning in. And speaking of Okay, all right. South Memphis. Speaking of Memphis and Grammys, congratulations to Ledisi for finally winning a Grammy. Well, I guess deserved Grammy if you really care about those type of things. She won a Grammy after so many tries. She's actually the granddaughter of the late great Johnny Ace. That's a guy that I champion. Now, congratulations to her. It's in her blood. You know, Johnny Ace was a grandfather. Like I told y'all before on a couple of shows, Johnny Ace is considered by many or some to be the first rock and roll star. Unfortunately, his life ended too early, too soon. At the age of 25, he was messing around with his gun backstage doing a Christmas concert down in Houston at the City Auditorium. It's December 25th, 1954. He was playing around his gun, shot himself in the head. Didn't know it was a bullet in the chamber, but had his girlfriend on his lap, Olivia Gibbs, who, you know, he also was married at the time as well with some kids back home in South Memphis, but that's another story. But, you know, Johnny died at 25. They had his funeral on January 2nd, 1955 at Claiborne Temple. That's the place where Dr. King allowed them would gather to organize the sanitation workers. And they still exist. It's an entertainment venue now. It's no longer a church. It's right near the FedEx Forum, a little bit off. So, yeah, he's not even in any Hall of Fame. Rock and roll, blues, R&B, never won a Grammy. But Johnny Ace is really, he was like the St. John the Baptist for what was to come in terms of the crossover because of his popularity. His last song, his posthumous hit that came out that he died, his biggest hit was Pledging My Love, which was covered by people like Aretha Franklin, Louis Armstrong. That was actually the last song that Elvis recorded. One of the last songs that Elvis Presley recorded. And it's interesting to compare Johnny Ace to Elvis Presley because here you had a black man that sounded white, and Elvis was a white man who sounded black. Elvis grew up in North Memphis in the projects. Johnny Ace grew up in South Memphis in an actual home. His father had a home. They lived in a house, a home that still exists. It should be a historic landmark. It should be a historic landmark. Same neighborhood as the birth home of Aretha Franklin and also where Stax Records used to be. So they call that place Soulsville for a reason, you know? So that's our grandfather, Johnny Ace. Ledisi. So congratulations to Ledisi. Congratulations to Nas. I mean, it really is kind of weird to think that Nas just won a Grammy. I mean, come on. I mean, King's Disease, I've been listening to it. But what about Illmatic? Hell, what about Stillmatic? I mean, Nas had a lot of great stuff in his catalog, and now they just now honoring him with a Grammy for King's Disease. I mean, that's why I don't care about the Grammys. I don't look at the Grammys. I mean, y'all tell me, well, you know, that performance that so-and-so did. I have not yet seen that performance that so-and-so did. You know what I'm saying? Grammys are not, everything is very political. Nas just won a Grammy. You had Snoop Dogg. Look at Snoop. We just had a versus with him and DMX, who never won a Grammy, from my understanding. DMX is in my top 10 greatest rappers of all time, easily. The 5-year run he had was an incredible run. Has not won a Grammy. Snoop Dogg has not won a Grammy, which is hard to believe because I remember Doggy Style was one of the greatest music debuts of all time, as far as I'm concerned. I'm not the expert on music or nothing like that, but I remember when Doggy Style first came out. Even before then, Snoop had all the smoke with the Chronic and that deep cover song 187 on an undercover car with Dr. Dre. They had that magical chemistry. You know, he did this stuff with Dre on the Chronic. Then Doggy Style come out, just set historic numbers, did baseball, football numbers, and you mean Snoop, all those things, anthems he has in his catalog, all them anthems he has, Gin and Juice. Think about it. Drop It Like It Hot, Drop It Like It Hot. You know, Snoop got a lot of anthems. Lay Low. I mean, all these anthems he had, he has not won a Grammy. Even did a gospel album and still didn't win a Grammy. But you know, Kanye, congratulations to him. He won a Grammy for, I guess, best Christian contemporary gospel album, Jesus is King, whatever. Kanye is interesting because the crazier he looks, the saner he really is to me. The crazier they make him look, the more sane he looks to me and sounds. Now they're saying that Kanye is the wealthiest black man in the history of America. They saying he's worth $6.6 billion. And I think he's not taking Kim Kardashian's calls no more. So who's really the crazy one? Y'all be shitting on Kanye, but Kanye, as he ate, his wisdom, his philosophy ages like fine wine. You know, when he said that slavery is a choice, and y'all clown him. A lot of y'all clown him, thought he was crazy. You know, he's a Gemini. He's weird. Not just mean Gemini don't mean you crazy. It just mean you complex. You could be contradictory and not be a hypocrite. But it's proven to be true. Because a lot of us choose to be slaves to conformity, to hell. We love being in hell as Black people. And we're going to talk a little bit about that tonight. But I just want to touch on the Grammy thing, what I think is interesting. You know, Kanye peed on the Grammy and gave him another Grammy so he could pee on. Free R. Kelly. Free R. Kelly, as far as I'm going. He peed on Grammys. He peed on girls, allegedly. Free them all. Free them all. R. Kelly is a political prisoner. That's another show altogether. I don't care what you think about R. Kelly. I still listen to R. Kelly. I don't care what you think about me. But I know growing up, you know, going to high school and junior high, I know girls, not ladies, not women, but girls were dating guys twice their age. I remember when in high school where the older guys would hang out and then with their nice little sports cars, but not shiny like, you know, shiny like a diamond, shine like diamond, you know, and you have teachers and parents and police. Nobody said nothing to them guys, picking up them girls, taking them to McDonald's, taking them to, you know, Foot Locker, Mall of Memphis, and then screwing them. Everybody knew what was going on, but nobody said anything. And Tupac never won a Grammy. It's an insult. Tupac got songs that have aged well. Tupac is like, he's what hip hop is, what Curtis Mayfield and Marvin Gaye was to message music. You know what I'm saying? That's who Tupac. Brenda Got a Baby, Keep Your Head Up. You know, even I Get Around, California. I mean, so many anthems. Tupac, his catalog is amazing, and he has not won a Grammy. Y'all, you know, the first rap Grammy I believe went to Will Smith and DJ Jazzy Jeff. Excuse me, DJ Jazzy Jeff, Fresh Prince and Jazzy Jeff. DJ, I like a lot of their stuff. Summertime was a great anthem, but they won, I believe, for Parents Just Don't Understand. And the Grammys, I believe, had the nerve not to broadcast that on prime time. That's how much they think of the culture, how much they think of Black artists and Black culture, that they would not even broadcast this historic win in prime time. And so there you go. Run DMC never won a competitive Grammy. Tupac never won a Grammy. Sun Ra never won a Grammy. So you trying to tell me just because you don't got a Grammy don't mean you ain't a great musician? No, not to Beyonce. She got 28 Grammys. I mean, Beyonce is great. I'm not gonna take nothing away from Beyonce, and she's a Virgo, and Virgos are great at music. You know, Nas is a Virgo, but only got one win. You got Charlie Parker, Michael Jackson. Just because she got the most Grammys don't mean she's the greatest artist. That's all subjective. But I mean, you can make the case that Beyonce is the closest thing to a Michael Jackson today. You know, people think that Michael Jackson is the greatest entertainer singer. Michael Jackson is great, but I like Jackie Wilson. You know, I like James Brown. You know, I like a lot of people. You know, it's interesting about artists who inspire them and whatnot. You look at somebody like Jackie Wilson, you would never think that his favorite singer was Al Jolson. Al Jolson was Jackie Wilson's favorite singer. Man. But who could sing Danny Boy like Jackie Wilson? Jackie Wilson had the best renditions of Danny Boy I ever heard in my life. That's something I want to be sung at my home going. Jackie Wilson, Danny Boy. Look up Jackie Wilson singing Danny Boy. It's amazing. So I guess, you know, it is what it is. You think about Robert Johnson, the king of the Delta Blues, right? They said that his favorite singer was Bing Crosby of all people. And people think, oh, Bing Crosby, one of the most successful singers of all time. You know, I was thinking about the Kirk Franklin thing with his son. And to me, I don't really care. You know, you talk to a person that's been cursed out several times by Dick Gregory on camera and also in public. And there's horrible curse outs, man. And Dick was going through his thing. Dick had some shit going on with him. And hopefully they'll come out in the very near future what was going on with Dick Gregory. But I might talk about it when the time I might put in my book. But I'm saying all this, you got to put it in context. What did his son tell him or do that pissed him off to be like that towards his son? You understand? Because I seen Kirk Franklin when he came to Memphis. He spoke at World Overcomers, and that's Bishop Alton Williams Church. And you might not know who Bishop Alton Williams is, but you know his brother is Reverend Jasper Williams, the guy who did Aretha Franklin's eulogy, as well as her father's eulogy. So that's his brother, Alton Williams. Got a church called World Overcomers. If you ever come to Memphis, at Winchester and Kirby Parkway at the intersection. There's this big Statue of Liberty copy they did. It's called the Statue of Liberation Through Christ or something like that. So it's a Statue of Liberty copy in the front lawn. You can't miss it. Right at the intersection, got a big cross in his hand. That's his church. But he brought Kirk Franklin to speak some years ago. And Kirk was very honest about his, I think his porn and sex addiction. He was talking about his porn and sex addiction. So I was like, you know, man, he bared his soul to the people. And to me, he should never had to apologize. I would never care about what strangers think about my family life. You understand? I don't really give a damn what a stranger think about my family life, because everybody's family is dysfunctional. And to be dysfunctional is not to be weird, it's to be normal. It's normal to have crazy kinfolk. It's normal not to get along with everybody. It's normal to love certain people at a distance. So I don't see that. I mean, I know siblings, people that grew up, you know, these siblings that grew up together, they have such bad falling outs that they don't even go to each other's funerals. You know, one of them may die. They say, "The hell with that bastard." I have known people that I respect that could not get along with their siblings once they were grown, that they would not even go to their siblings' funeral because of some falling out years ago. I know relatives that did not talk to their parents and parents that did not talk to their kids for years. And before each of them left, they made amends, thank God, but that don't mean they bad people just because they can't get along with certain people in the family. It is what it is. People are interesting like that, you know. So with the Kirk Franklin thing, whatever, don't care. I think it's kind of weird. His son is very spoiled because, you know, I'm sure he getting money from daddy. You know what I'm saying? He using that name to move in the industry, whatever of his choosing. He's in his 30s, acting like a little kid. Grow up, man. Let's grow up. That wasn't even worth putting out there, man. I would have just kept that and kept it moving, man. To get some sympathy, because there's no love for black men in this society. If you're a black man, people ain't gonna love you, man. You know, I'm in Memphis and I see it every day. I see broken black men or males, broken black males, young and old, begging for money, walking around so that their souls have left their bodies a while ago. So there's no love for a black man in the system that makes it its business to buck break black men. There is no love or sympathy for black men in a system that is made to buck break black men. Okay, so shut the, you know, I'm just this is a guy that's been cursed out by people. Not just Dick Gregory. You know, it is what it is. It'll make you stronger if it doesn't break you. Dick Gregory had some issues going on, man. And you gotta understand with Dick, he got so many ass whoopings. Dick Gregory been to jail so many times. He got his ass beat so many times. He's lost a lot of his friends before the age of 40. A lot of his friends didn't make it to 40. I'm talking about people like Malcolm X, Medgar Evers, Martin Luther King Jr. Yeah, I know about the Michael, huh? He lost a lot of people, man. Dick has paid a lot of dues. I try to do in my business to educate people about the things that Dick has contributed to humanity. He was a real humanitarian. It's a difference between being a humanitarian and being a philanthropist. You could hate people and still be a great philanthropist. Like, you got a lot of folks that have given a lot of money and resources over years, and they have done a lot of evil things to society, to humanity. Done a lot of evil things. I'm not gonna mention their names because y'all need to do some homework. But there's a lot of foundations that are well endowed. But if you look at the founders of said foundations, they have done horrible things to humanity. It's hard for a rich man to get into heaven. You understand? It's like what Lucky Luciano said years ago: behind every great wealth, there's a great crime. So if people did a lot of dirt, you don't get no $1 billion by being kind to people. You get that by being ruthless. You look at Jay-Z, what happened to his friends? All his friends on Dame Dash, he cut all them people off. Look at Puffy. You don't get to those type of levels by being nice. To be nice is an insult. If somebody call you a nice person, and why you think nice guys fit in last? Nice people are not respected. Don't you notice that the people that we worship are the most disrespectful to people. Think about the people that we idolize. They are the most disrespectful, inaccessible people on the planet. Think about it. I hear these stories about Michael Jordan. Like this is a saying, they say you don't want to meet your heroes because you set yourself up for a big disappointment, right? Hear about the stories about Michael Jordan, even Chamillionaire, the rapper, buying all those jerseys for charity, I guess, and he just wanted Michael Jordan to sign them, and Michael Jordan cursed him out. All that stuff. And I'm not, he might have had a bad day, but what I'm saying, I heard several Michael Jordan stories, and I don't know if they're true or not. I never met Michael Jordan. So with that said, you could be a philanthropist and do dirty things to people. And you could be humanitarian. Humanitarian don't mean that you give away your money. It means that you giving of your talents and that you giving the best of you to humanity. Like being a master teacher or guru or something like that, or a person you got a talent on give and use it to help raise awareness for issues in society or bring awareness or whatever. So to be a humanitarian, you don't have to be a wealthy person to be a humanitarian. And you don't have to be a loving person to be a philanthropist. See, I'm trying to get people to understand. It's like when people say, well, black people being racist towards Asians. I say, we can't be racist because we don't have power to control their lives. You got black folks that may hate Asian people. You got Asian people that may hate black people. Don't make you racist. It make you a human being with emotions. That's an emotional thing. Racism has nothing to do with emotion. And we do ourselves a disservice. We keep on saying it's a white supremacist system. It's not a white supremacist system. It's a racist system. It's about power. It's not about hate. It's about power at the end of the day. Those who have and those who have not. So we got to understand how to break this stuff down. And like I said, I don't follow nobody on YouTube. I like some people. I'm weird because I got different tastes. I don't go with the crowd. Like, I like Beyonce, but I have not seen Lemonade. I have not seen Black is King. Had not seen a lot of her Grammy performances. Y'all say I should look at, but I respect her. I don't hate her on because she got all the Grammys ever, for a male or female singer. 28, that's impressive in itself. It speaks to her work ethic. And congratulations and kudos to her father. The Black fathers matter. You like the Williams sister. Y'all, black men, we are needed. Black men are powerful. We are the fathers of civilization, of humanity. So it's a place for us, but we got to stop erasing ourselves from this place that we are rightfully inherited, So Matthew Knowles was the one who risked his 6-figure job. He quit his 6-figure job to invest in his daughter. And even he said she wasn't the world's greatest singer, but she has one hell of a work ethic. I told you Beyonce was a Virgo. Y'all don't know y'all didn't study these zodiacs, man. It's not a coincidence that Beyonce is a Virgo. That means she got a hell of a work ethic. Michael Jackson was a Virgo. Charlie Parker was a Virgo. Dinah Washington was a Virgo. Dinah Washington, Michael Jackson, Charlie Parker were all born August 29th. Kobe was not a Mamba. He was a Virgo. Dave Chappelle's a Virgo. They got a hell of a work ethic, man. They OCD with it. So, yeah, Beyonce is the Michael Jackson of her times. For her times, I mean, it's a different era. And like to quote Michael Jackson, you study the greats. You best believe if you talk to a Beyonce, she knows about the folks who came before. She know where the standard is. That's why she's driven like that. But like you look at Jay-Z, I believe Jay-Z got 23 Grammys. Notorious B.I.G. don't got a Grammy. Tupac don't have a Grammy. Snoop don't got no Grammy. Does that mean that he's the greatest rapper of all time? To me, he's in my top 5. And that's up for debate. I'm not talking about because y'all want to talk about his politics and business acumen. I'm not talking about that shit. I'm talking about the artistry. Jay-Z is nice with it. He got an amazing flow. Jay-Z is nice with it. Like you said, you made it a hot line. I made it a hot song. All right. Thank y'all for tuning in. And it's a lot to cover, but I think the Grammys, yeah, I won't read too much to it. Like Sun Ra don't have no Grammy. Y'all talking about Prince and Earth, Wind and Fire and George Clinton, P-Funk. Shit, Sun Ra was doing electric stuff back in the late 40s and 50s. He was doing synthesizers back in the 50s and the late 40s. Sun Ra. Maurice White, who's from Memphis, these guys were influenced by Sun Ra. But where's the Grammys for Sun Ra? I mean, even Beyonce's sister is heavily influenced by Sun Ra, Erykah Badu. But Solange knows she hired Sun Ra Orchestra to play on her albums and at her concerts. But y'all don't. Sun Ra's not a household name. That's sad. That's a travesty. I remember hearing an interview that Sun Ra did. They said it was at the club up in New York. I think John Coltrane and some other people were on before Sun Ra, and they were recording them for some albums. I guess the music, the record labels were recording John Coltrane, some other acts. And as soon as Sun Ra came on the stage, all the recording companies, they left. Nobody was recording Sun Ra. So Sun Ra was talking about this, the disrespect. He was like Rodney Dangerfield, I get no respect. But everybody gets stolen from Sun Ra. And shout out, I don't know, like I said, I don't look at the Grammys. I know people is complaining about Eddie Van Halen not getting his proper respects during the tributes for those who we lost in the last year or so. And yeah, that's an insult. If it's true what they said, it was like a little short thing, because I believe that Lionel Richie, he did a tribute to Kenny Rogers, and rightfully so. Because Kenny Rogers was a real close friend of his, and he put him on the map when he wrote that song Lady, and Kenny Rogers made it a hit. And then Lionel did his thing, because Lionel is a great songwriter. But there was no song tribute to Eddie Van Halen. It is disrespectful. But my thing, I don't even know they honor Danny Ray Thompson, longtime band member, co-director, manager of the Sun Ra Orchestra. We lost Danny Ray Thompson last year in March, and I knew Danny. Danny was cool, because he was the reason why I was able to get the Sun Ra down here for that historic concert at Rose College back in 2018. The dude that worked at Rose, can you talk to these guys? I said, I talked to Danny, and I made it happen. And I'm glad that I had a chance to bring, because they told me that was the first time the Sun Ra Orchestra ever played Memphis. I said, that's ridiculous. Really? Y'all sure? And these guys go back for 50 something years. Some of them guys in the band say that's the first time we ever played Memphis, played Mecca. Some of y'all call Memphis Mecca. And Memphis, Tennessee is a very powerful cultural powerhouse. And it's said that a lot of Memphians and people in the area don't know about it. And that's why, in fact, I'm a space alien walking around Memphis, because people don't know how great Memphis really is. And so it was good to be able to bring them. And I thought I'd have more time to help Danny Ray Thompson come down. I hope he got his barbecue beef brisket sandwich when he can. Cause he asked me, man, can you give me a beef brisket sandwich, a barbecue beef brisket sandwich? Cause I hope he got his beef brisket sandwich before he left to go back on the mothership with Sun Ra. And I don't know if they honor him. I don't know if they honor Jimmy Heath. We lost the great Jimmy Heath, Little Bird from Philadelphia. Sun Ra, they were headquartered, or they are headquartered still in Philadelphia, the orchestra. Philadelphia is a very important Black history town. There are a lot of people don't know about the history and the greatness of Philadelphia for Black people. But I don't know if they honor Jimmy Heath. I don't know, because I don't care about the Grammys like that. I don't look at that type of stuff. Normally the only award show I would look at is the Oscars. And really, they're very political, because some of the stuff for Best Picture, like Moonlight, ain't gonna trash Moonlight, but I seen Moonlight, and the Oscars don't care. Like, James Cameron movie Avatar should have won for Best Picture, and they gave it to his wife for Hurt Locker. How many people looking at Hurt Locker in 2021? But how many people still looking at Avatar in 2021? It's the highest grossing movie of all time now. Again. So how many people are looking at Avatar versus looking at Hurt Locker? And that was James Cameron's ex-wife, who's a lesbian now. So, it's the games, man. So, like I said, it's hard for me to get on here, because I want to do y'all a service. Every time I speak on my platform, I'm trying to offer y'all food of substance. And it'd be a lot on my mind, and I want to be able to compress it as much as I can, but it'd be so much shit going on, and my mind be working like weird. I be connecting stuff that people can't connect, whatever. I'm not saying that I'm better than anybody, but I'm just doing my thing differently. So The Grammys don't really matter in the bigger scheme of things because some of the greatest never won a Grammy. It's like some of the greatest never won an Oscar or a Tony or an Emmy. I could think of one white actress that should have been won an Oscar. Annette Bening, Warren Beatty's wife. She should have been won an Oscar. She ain't the only one, but I'm saying she never won an Oscar. I mean, I saw Bugsy about a couple weeks ago, and Bugsy is so historically inaccurate, but so damn entertaining because of the acting. Annette Bening really stole the show. She stole those scenes which she was in with Warren Beatty. They actually met on the set of Bugsy, and they fell in love, and the rest is history, right? But I really do believe Warren Beatty was 10 years too old to play Bugsy, because Bugsy was just 41 when he died. I think Beatty was in his 50s, but he pulled it off. I mean, for what it was, the script is kind of like, no, it's all, for example, Bugsy family was actually moved out into Los Angeles. They was out there for several years. His eldest daughter, her godmother was Jean Harlow. So in the movie, they act like they was all in Scarsdale, New York for the whole time Bugsy was out on the West Coast. It's not true. And that's just one of the inaccuracies of that movie. But what the point I'm trying to make is never go to Hollywood for your history. I don't care if it's white people history or Jewish history or black history. Do not trust these propagandas with your story. We got technology to tell our stories now. And if Tupac was a whole CIA agent, think about it. His mom was a Panther, right? His mom, Afeni, was a Panther. She was set up by Malcolm X's former bodyguard, Gene Roberts, who was a Panther. All our black organizations have been compromised from the get-go. The UNIA was compromised by the Federal Bureau of Investigation. The first black FBI agent was hired to neutralize Marcus Garvey, Agent 800, James Wormley Jones. Thank you, Brother Malcolm, for the cash app, for the Dudes Nation. We love you madly. It's interesting. I'm talking about the Grammys, right? I don't know what the hell but yeah, okay. We know that the government was involved in the deaths of Tupac, Biggie, Fred Hampton, Malcolm X, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., so many people. So a lot of times I just want us to do the homework, because even you look at the movies Judas and the Black Messiah, there were 9 informants in the Black Panther Party in Illinois. So when William O'Neill, the actual William O'Neill said he didn't put whatever stuff in Fred Hampton's Kool-Aid, he may not have been the one who actually did that. There were 9 informants. See, the questions we should be asking is, we should be doing a Freedom of Information request, or FOIA, and find out who these 8 other informants that were in the Black Panther Party in Illinois, who they were. See, William O'Neill wasn't the only one, and people keep on saying, well, the Oscar thing, y'all keep on wanting to be validated by white people. Well, they nominated Dan Kaluuya and Lakeith Stanfield for Best Supporting Actor in Judas and the Black Messiah. Yeah, because the lead actor was the government. The government was the lead actor in Judas and the Black Messiah. The government created COINTELPRO. The government said it should have been called White Devil and the Black Messiah, or not Judas, because William O'Neill never believed in the mission of the Black Panther Party. So how could he betray something he never believed in? How can you be a Judas if you never believe in something you're supposed to believe in? How can you betray it? Think about what I'm saying. So it's just been called the devil and the Black Messiah, the white devil and the Black Messiah, but not Judas and the Black Messiah. But yeah, the government was the lead actor in Judas and the Black Messiah. See, I talked about the Grammys. Didn't watch it. Don't watch it at all. Really, don't care. I might look at the Oscars. I don't know yet. What else did I say in my description? Well, yeah. Let me see. The small my screen a little bit so I can put some of y'all. What y'all saying? Gotta make myself small. Okay. Let's be students of history, man. Like I said, stop. Don't let us YouTube oracles be our one-stop destination for all information. Don't let YouTube scholars and oracles be. I love YouTube. Hey, Real Black, shout out to you. Doing great work over there in Real Black. I know y'all hip to that if you love the culture. Check out brother Mike over there in Real Black, and shout out to that beautiful student film you did on your grandma, and for acknowledging it on her, you said 103rd or 102nd birthday. I want to encourage you to finish that student film project. It looks very promising, man. Hell, you could have probably won an Oscar this year. The way things are going now, because nobody going to the movie theaters, all about streaming online now. So yeah, brother Mike, thank you for tuning in. Now that's interesting to think about, ain't it? Because from my understanding, people said he was one of the main ones to defend William O'Neal while they was Panthers. Like, well, people would question William O'Neal and his, who he was, and they said Bobby Rush was one of the main defenders of William O'Neal. I don't know if he was or not, but Bobby Rush was in the military before he joined the Panther Party. And a lot of times, military intelligence infiltrate these groups. Not saying that he is or not, but I think it's kind of interesting. Bobby Rush really hasn't done nothing to maintain the legacy of Chairman Fred Hampton Sr. If he's the second in command, how come there's nothing being done really to outside the grassroots efforts of Chairman Fred Jr. and his beautiful mom, but Kua? What has Bobby Rush done in his capacity as a representative of the political establishment to secure the legacy of Fred Hampton Sr. in Chicago, in Illinois? I don't know. But I saw him on an interview he did recently with April Ryan, I believe, for the Griot or one of the news outlets that's on YouTube. And he's been in bad health recently. I know he lost his first wife not too long ago. He's been remarried. I didn't know he was a minister, but hopefully somebody could ask him, like, were you an informant? Why are you still around instead of speculation? Okay, but we got to realize that even if he's suspected of being an informant, the government killed Fred Hampton Sr. He was the mastermind behind it. He was a tool. He was a pawn. He was a puppet like all of us. We pawns and puppets and potential MK Ultra Manchurian candidates. We've been programmed and socially engineered. Social media is a social experiment. Y'all understand that or understand that, right? Yeah, it's a matrix that we're in. Let me see. Yeah, shout out Sister Duckworth, sending love to Real Black. Okay. Yeah, I heard about that. So they're gonna blame that on us too. They try to blame that on black people. Here's the thing. Like I said, there's no black person that's racist towards Asians in this system. I'm sorry. We aren't, black people are not racist towards Asians. Like, some of us may hate Asians, but a lot of us love them. We love their culture. What do you think about Wu-Tang Clan? Hoo, ha, Shaolin. We love Bruce Lee. Be like Wata. Be like Wata. Be like Wata. Waha. Last Dragon. I told y'all, one of Malcolm's comrades was a Japanese woman, Japanese American. I talked about her in one of my recent episodes, right? I talked about how Ho Chi Minh used to come over to America to listen to Marcus Garvey speak in Harlem. So Marcus Garvey inspired Ho Chi Minh to lead the Viet Cong resistance against the imperialists, whether they be French or American. The Chinamen, when they would come over here and work them railroads, they were screwing black women. Got a lot of Blackanese Americans, you understand? See, I'm in Memphis. There's a prominent black family called the Sugarman. Russell Sugarman was a very prominent civil rights lawyer and judge who recently passed away. But if you look at him, they got Chinese all in their family. But they consider themselves black people, but they got Chinese, they got Chinese Asian features. And you see black folks with some Asian features walking around here. So I don't know where all that's coming from. Even Satchmo, Louis Armstrong, did a song back in the 20s called Cornet Chop Suey. Up in Chicago. He loved the Chinese food. But anyway, It's bullshit. And black folks need to start worrying about what everybody else think about them and start thinking about ourselves first and foremost and getting some justice for ourselves first and foremost. We got to stop worrying about people getting locked up in cages on the border when we've been getting locked up ever since we got here. They've been separating black people families. It wasn't called ICE back in the day. It was called slavery. Slave patrol. It wasn't called ICE. It was slave patrol. And we still being locked up. Yeah, I like people that have yeah, but we got to start being more proactive in telling these stories. We're not gonna get no multi-million-dollar superhero budget to tell these stories. So okay, I mean, you could do good and bad. I mean, people are complex. We complex. One man's a terrorist is another man's freedom fighter. You understand? Yeah, I heard Bobby had okay. I heard it was like a jaw cancer. You know how Roger Ebert, the famous movie critic from Chicago, I think he had like kind of like a similar thing, like salivary gland or whatever. You know, they had to replace his jaw. I think Bobby had something almost similar to that as well, too, dealing with the jaw. So, but he was on. I mean, he's in his last leg of his journey. So it'll be cool if somebody could ask him on the record, you know, why you haven't done more to preserve the legacy of your comrade. I mean, you live way longer than he has. You know, we lost Fred Hampton at just 21 years young. Even if you never admit it, it's just still good to know somebody confronting him on that, because people raise those type of concerns. Okay, we all victims of the system. I don't know Bobby like that, you know. I'm just saying what I have heard people say. Black folks are the indigenous people of the planet. You know, Buddha is a black man. Y'all do know Buddha is a black man. I remember my uncle, he was in Vietnam. My uncle James, we call him Uncle Frenchie. He's 90-something years old, 94 now. I think he's like 94 years old. But he said when he was in Vietnam, and when you know, traveling the Mekong Delta, whatever, that the Viet Cong would not try to kill the black soldiers. They would have ceasefires with the black soldiers and invite them over to their homes to eat, break bread, and even be with their women. So war is interesting. Like I said, Ho Chi Minh was an admirer of Marcus Garvey. He's traveled over here to America just to hear him speak. Blasian, yeah, Blasian. I know some Blinese though, some Blackanese. It's interesting down south because people got this thing about down south. We're very segregated down south. Nah, that's a north thing. That's a north and west coast thing. It's not no down south thing. Down south, people really live close together, black and whites, and it's interesting because you had black folks working in white folks' homes. I remember I met a sister some years ago from Alabama, and she was at the Greyhound bus station in Memphis, and she was telling me how some of her father's biggest clients, and her father owned a grocery store. Some of his biggest customers were white people, were poor whites, would go to his grocery store. So a lot of their money came from poor whites going to her father's grocery store. So I think that's interesting to reconsider. But you go to places like St. Louis and Chicago, they're very segregated. Even to this day, Chicago, very segregated. You know, St. Louis, you know, Cleveland, places like that. So it's interesting. So what else I'm supposed to talk about with y'all? Shit. I just talking along with it. See what else I'm supposed to talk about. Oh yeah, okay. Let's talk about Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, right? I saw the Oprah interview. Interesting. You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of the interview that Barbara Walters did with Mike Tyson and Robin Givens. Prince Harry looks very emasculated. I don't believe everything Meghan Markle said about everything about the royals because she's an actress. She knows how to manipulate people through emotion. She's an actress. She's a seasoned actress, and her father's a grifter, it seems like. She takes after her father. That's what I'm saying. And that's her white daddy. Her daddy's white. She don't look black. She's a mixed person. I don't think she's about black power or black pride. She all about black when it's convenient to be black. And you can't tell she's black. So she's not black. She's white. Because you got a lot of white folks that got black in their trees, but they don't accept black. Like to them, black is an attitude. It's like what Dick Gregory said, white is an attitude. If you got enough money in the bank, you can't be white. There's a lot of white folks who think they're white. They're not white. You think about Italians and Irish. They just became white a little bit over 100 years ago. That's politics. But Meghan Markle is not really a black woman. I think her first husband was a white man. And she married another white man. Thank y'all. Thank A.L.L. I appreciate you. Love you, man, for the Do Nation. I'm gonna break it down to y'all, man. I just like my mind. I apologize to people who think that I'm just sometimes I'm an asshole. I am. I don't always return my phone calls and texts and emails. I apologize. I just be going through some weird shit right now. I'm just trying to. It's just weird right now talking to y'all about this stuff. But look at the Mike Tyson and Robin Givens interview with Baba Waters, right? From back in the day. I remember when I was a kid, Mike Tyson, like he was like, what the hell going on? Like he's having an out of body experience. And I'm looking at Prince Harry. He let this woman dominate him, letting her come between his family. And I would say this, I believe what he's saying that they are trapped though. It's like they the reverse Get Out. You know what I'm saying? Like people think that because you're a royal, that means you got it easy. No, you don't. I can't say for sure, but you got to talk to them. I don't think they have it easy. I mean, they got the trappings, they got luxury, they got resources, they got celebrity and all this. They got people that even worship them, but it has to be a lonely existence. And I'm sure like he talking about, you got to fabricate a smile. And even when you're depressed and don't feel like going out there, you got to go out there and represent the crown. And I thought it was interesting. I'm not saying that Meghan was disingenuous about the whole thing, but I would love to know. I don't watch The Crown. People say you got to watch The Crown. I say I can't. All these shows people watch. Real life is more interesting than anything they can make up on Netflix. Okay, but I would say this. I would love to know who is the institution, because they kept on talking about the institution. See, they the power behind the throne. They the real puppet masters. Queen Elizabeth, King Philip, whatever name, Prince Charles, all them, they just puppets. They're just puppets. And I believe that Prince Harry know what really happened to his mom, Princess Di. And that's why maybe it was his get out of prison card. Meghan Markle was his get out of prison card because he know what really happened to his mom. I think it's strange. People don't talk about that. Because I remember when it happened, I can never forget where I was at and who I was with when I heard about Princess Di dying in Paris or in France. You got to understand, too, you start looking into that. They said that she could have survived, but they just waited to send an ambulance to pick her up. They was not even in a rush to rush her to a hospital. They just let this woman suffer at the crime scene. It was no accident. It was a crime scene because she was murdered. They said she was there. They could have, if they had got quick medical care, she could have survived that incident. Think about it. But they blame it on paparazzi, right? It's like they try to blame anti-Asian violence on black people. The low hanging fruit is the easiest to pick and to pull at, right? So, Prince Harry knew. And he know that he might not be or may not be Prince Charles' actual son. Look at it's a dude that Princess Di used to be close to. Harry looked more like him than he does Prince Charles. And the dude had red hair. I don't know if he's still around or not, but people say that was his actual biological father. So, and Prince Harry was never going to be king. Prince Charles may not be king. His mama said she won't die. She is in such good health. She gonna be around for 100-something years. She's 94 now, I think. I'm talking about Queen Elizabeth, but King William will be king, but Prince Harry is never gonna be king. So what does he got to lose? You know what I'm saying? But I think he just wanted out, and he found this convenient with this Meghan Markle lady, and I believe she's a schemer. She's American. Her daddy white. Her zaddy. Her mama's black. Don't mean she's black though. But she's not really black. She don't consider herself really black, and she used the blackness as convenience. She got a black convenience card like Kamala Harris, who's not really black either. You know, black folks got to stop it with this bullshit. Y'all got to stop this shit. I'm not with this bullshit because I know mixed people, miscegenated people, as my friend Margaret Block would say, miscegenated people. I know a lot of miscegenated people. I went to school with them. You know, they couldn't handle being black 24/7. But I know some, they good people. Some of them do marry black people. Some of them marry as many as white folks they could to get light as possible. It is what it is. But we got to stop. You know, they're all black. They are not all black. Just like white is an attitude, blackness is an attitude. John Brown was black to me. He had a black attitude. Meghan Markle's not black. She's Harry's payback. So I know y'all very educated in the chat room, but I wish her the best. They say she's trying to run for president now. I don't really. Democrats like Keystone Cops, man. They like the Washington Generals, man. They gonna lose perennially. They just meant to lose, man. Democrats just jokes, man. And just jokes, but well, black folks, the jokes on us though, right? But let's talk about hidden colors. Speaking of Meghan Markle, let's talk about some hidden colors, right? Hidden colors. I think I've covered everything. I'm trying to get out here by midnight Central Time. Hidden colors. Okay, that's I talk about Grammys, Meghan Markle. Let's talk about some hidden colors. I think I've been very patient. I'm just trying to get through this stuff, man. That's the first black first lady. It's Jackie Kennedy. That's the first black lady first lady. Y'all know that, right? But if she don't claim it, then I guess she can't be the first. Y'all think it's Michelle Obama, but that's the first one. I'm gonna break it down for y'all. Okay, keep that in mind. There's so much history. So much history. Have a lot of stuff open, so bear with me, good people. Show another one. Connect the dots. La 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 la. Connect the dots. Let me show another picture. Humphrey Bogart. See a bogey? That's Bogey. He's Blackie. Humphrey Bogart is a Blackie. He's a Blackie, see? And also he's connected to Jackie Kennedy. So one of the greatest leading men in Hollywood history. Some people say he's the greatest leading man of all time, late bloomer. But Humphrey Bogart, the mentor to Frank Sinatra was so close to Humphrey Bogart that when he passed, he was going to marry his widow, Lauren Bacall. Frank Sinatra was going to really marry Lauren Bacall, but called it off at the last minute. So don't think that, you know, Sam Cooke was weird. The Sam Cooke thing with Barbara ended up marrying Sam Cooke's protege, Bobby Womack, that's like a black people thing. No, Frank Sinatra was going to marry his mentor because Frank Sinatra was real close to Humphrey Bogart. That was like his big brother. And it was Humphrey Bogart that coined the phrase, the Rat Pack. He coined that phrase, the Rat Pack, but Humphrey Bogart, Bogey was a black man. Bogey was a boogeyman. He was a black man, see? We're going to talk about that, him and Jackie O, and what this got to do with anything. It's called Hidden Colors. Hidden Colors, you see? And I'm going to show you, I'm going to show y'all the connection. Oh, brother Ron, the weird things you weave, my man. I'm not making this up. I don't got no imagination to make nothing like this up. This is above my pay grade. I'm not getting paid for this. So let me show you the connection. And y'all gonna take a look. It's all online. See, every time y'all be on We All Be, I could talk about some gossipy bullshit, but let me talk about some historical gossip. How about that? Some historical tea. Let's talk about some historical tea. But oh man. Let's see. Thank y'all for being patient. Okay. I'm trying to I like I'm knowing what I'm doing with this stuff. I think that's it. Y'all know who that is? Y'all don't really know who that is, right? That's the guy that connect Humphrey Bogart to Jackie O. Oh my. Who is this distinguished gentleman, as you say? Well, let's find out who he is. I'm gonna tell y'all, and y'all can look this up. All this stuff is online, y'all. All of this stuff is online. That's Dr. John Van Saley DeGrassi. First black person to get a medical degree in America. Ancestor to Jackie O. Kennedy or Jackie Onassis and Humphrey Bogart. Let's talk about this guy's background. Okay, let's talk about his founder, Van Saley's. Very prominent family that's connected to the Vanderbilts, right? So let me do a little reading. Y'all can find all this stuff online. Okay, the Van Saley family. Okay, hear me good. Hear me good. Take the focus off of me. All eyes not on me. Put all eyes on him. This is how you do your research. The Van Saley family, right? Anthony and Abraham Van Saley were the ancestors of the Vanderbilts, the Whitneys, Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis, and Humphrey Bogart. Once again, y'all think these were white families. These are the white elites, the so-called Pilgrim families, right? The Mayflower families, right? Anthony and Abraham Van Saley or Sallee were the ancestors of the Vanderbilts, the Whitneys, Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis, and Humphrey Bogart. They were among the earliest arrivals to 17th century New Amsterdam. Yeah, that's New York. In a number of documents dating back to this period, they are both described as mulatto. From what scholars have been able to piece together about their background, they appear to have been the sons of a Dutch seafarer by the name of John Johnson, who had turned Turk and become an admiral in the Moroccan Navy, with the port of Sallee as the base from which it harried European shipping. References to the fleet he commanded are salted away in the old English sea shanties that are still sung about the Sallee Rovers. The mother of his two sons was probably a concubine he had while trading in this part of the world before his conversion to Islam. Oh, wait a minute. So the Vanderbilts and the Whitneys and Jackie O and Humphrey Bogart come from a family of prominent Muslims. Oh my, I thought they were Christian. As a result of the antisocial behavior of his white wife, Anthony Van Saley was induced to leave the city precincts of Lower Manhattan and move across the river, thus becoming the first settler of Brooklyn. So it was a so-called person of color that was the first settler of Brooklyn. Y'all remember, like in one of my recent episodes, I talked about how Ida B. Wells, when she was ran out the South, people assumed she went to Chicago first. Now she went to Brooklyn. Brooklyn has a powerful Black history narrative. Now you know that the first settler, was now known as Brooklyn, the Republic of Brooklyn, was a so-called person of color or Black person, whatever you want to call it, person of color, whatever. Okay, so that's good to know. Since Coney Island built his property, it was until sometime in the last century also referred to as Turk's Island. The word Turk being a designation of his, which the records use interchangeably with mulatto. So Turk means Black. Think about Moor, right? I know y'all gonna say something about the Moor thing, but Moors, black folks from Africa, right? Civilized Europe, while that, yada. But just keep this in mind. Central Park was known as the Village, right? What do you call it? Was it Seneca Village or the African Village? Let me get it right, cause y'all like to crucify brother. Let me get it right, cause y'all could use y'all smartphones and computers to check it out. Seneca Village. It was known as Seneca Village, right? Central Park, the big park in New York, was really a community for black people. It was known as Seneca Village. Now you know that was known as Coney Island used to be known as Turks Island, right? So think about it. Anywhere where black folks gather becomes valuable real estate. I want y'all to keep that in your mind. Whether it be Harlem, whether it be Brooklyn, Georgetown, Beale Street, or even prisons, wherever there is a large number of black people, it becomes valuable real estate. So now y'all know that Brooklyn was founded by black people. Notorious B.I.G., long live the notorious one, the glorious one. And now that Central Park, or you should have been known by Central Park being Seneca Park, right? They kicked the black folks out of that, the eminent domain, that too. According to the documentation that people like Professor Leo Herskowitz of Queen's University has sifted through, it was seen that Anthony Van Zeile never converted to Christianity. His Quran, in fact, was in a descendant's possession until about 50 years ago, when, ignorant of its relevance to his family's history, he offered it for sale at auction. The Van Zeile history also includes a more contemporary black collateral branch in the U.S. Anthony's brother Abraham fathered an illegitimate son with an unknown black woman. Okay, now you get the real black, that foundational black American, that Adolf's black. Okay, now that come in. Okay, because listen to me well. Let me say that again. The Van Zeile history also includes a more contemporary black collateral branch in the U.S. Anthony's brother Abraham fathered an illegitimate son with an unknown black woman. The son became the progenitor of this side of the family, although having to face constraints that their quote white unquote cousins could at best only imagine. Two of these Van Zeiles nevertheless left their mark in the annals of African American history. And as you know, African American history is American history. Dr. John Van Zeile Degrassi, I guess. And that's the guy that's pictures I got on my, you see that picture of him? That's Dr. John Van Zeile Degrassi, born in 1825, was the first of his race to be formally educated as a doctor. So that's the black race, y'all. This is the first formally educated black doctor in America. All right. A member of the Medical Society of Massachusetts, he also served as surgeon to the celebrated 54th Regiment during the Civil War. That movie Glory is based on the 54th Regiment from Massachusetts, right? So he was the surgeon for them. This is a black man. He didn't say he was white. This was a black man. His mama black. I'm gonna call him black. His sister Serena married George Downing, who was not only an enormously successful black restaurateur, both in New York City and in Newport, Rhode Island, but a man who used his wealth and connections with the East Coast's most powerful white families to effect social change for his people, that's black people. Because of his organization and his own contribution to the purchase of Truro Park in Newport, one of the streets bordering it still bears his name. Interestingly enough, this genealogy was done as a part of an ongoing study of the Ramapo in Tappan, New York, one of those red, white, and black groups sociologists and ethnographers are now working on, in which in these academies are referred to as the triracial isolates. Interesting. Think about Malungan people. Race is an interesting thing in America. It is because of what advantages their Indian heritage. no matter how discernibly Negroid they were. So now, oh my God, they're saying that the black people are actually the Indians. They say it in a slick way, though, which is interesting. But like I said, we are the indigenous people. If you black, we are the indigenous people of the planet. But now they are admitting that what people want to call Indians are really black people. How interesting. Okay. Let me read that again. It is because of what advantages their Indian heritage, no matter how discernibly Negroid they were, legally and officially provided them that the opportunity for passing in these groups was not only a more ambiguous political or moral decision, but comparatively a more easily documentable one as well. Now, I'm glad they brought this up. I'm almost through, family. I just want to read through this right quick because a lot of y'all know about Billie Holiday. They've been talking a lot about Billie Holiday, right? But the guy who discovered her was a guy named John Heyman. He was a Vanderbilt, but he really was a black person, right? He was a light-skinned mulatto, whatever you want to call him. But he was Benny Goodman's brother-in-law. That's how Benny Goodman became so powerful in music, because his brother-in-law was John Heyman, the guy who not only allegedly discovered Billie Holiday, but also Count Basie Orchestra, Aretha Franklin, and I think Bob Dylan, among other people. But considering how important a role John Heyman of Columbia Records played in the establishment of the black music industry, it would certainly be worth exploring the possible influence his Vancelli ancestry might have had on his career. Back then, there would have been no option possible for publicly declaring himself black according to the one-drop racial code that was the law in most states until the Johnson administration. With a Vanderbilt for a mother, his iconographical value to the white majority was so important that had he dared to tamper with it, the KKK or some such group would have most probably have made him pay the ultimate price for having desecrated his and the prestige of his relatives, who had, after all, fairly well succeeded in making themselves the equivalent of this country's royal family. Heyman died a few years ago, but since his son, following his father's footsteps, has become a recognized exponent of R&B, his could prove to be a very important interview for us. This is from a PBS website. So this has been out for a while, though. All right. So you think about John Heyman, look him up, right? Look him up. So is Vanderbilt University in Nashville a HBCU? So is Vanderbilt University in Nashville really a HBCU, a historical black college and university? You remember Reverend James Lawson was a professor at Vanderbilt back in the day when they led their student march or protest in Nashville. They helped put people like John Lewis and Diane Nash and James Bevel and so many other civil rights lieutenants of Dr. King on the map. So that's interesting. But okay, let's talk about this. Jackie Kennedy Onassis, this guy said, either Professor Hershkowitz or Tim Beard, former head of the genealogical department of the New York Public Library, related this incident regarding Vancelli genealogy. At the time the Kennedy administration began implementing its civil rights agenda, the New York Genealogical and Historical Society approached Mrs. Kennedy, hoping to discuss the opportunity her African ancestry through the Vancellis could have in possibly assisting her husband to realize his social goals regarding race relations. Mrs. Kennedy insisted on referring to the Vancellis as Jewish, and the New York Genealogical Society did not push the subject further. Humphrey Bogart and Ruth Gordon they said Humphrey Bogart is a Vancelli descendant. A few years later, another descendant attempted to pass off the racial description of the Vancellis in the official records as nothing more than malicious humor. So that's Dr. John Vancelli Degrassi, the first black doctor in America that was educated in America. And he's related to Jackie Kennedy and Humphrey Bogart. So y'all can find out this stuff easily. And it also is interesting to point out. Let me point out this. Let me find a picture of Jackie Kennedy. Another picture of Jackie Kennedy. Thank y'all for being patient. I'm just okay. This will work. This will work. There's a lot of interesting things. Show this picture. Not that picture. That's the wrong one. Cancel that out. A lot of interesting shit. That's Jackie Onassis Kennedy, or Jackie Kennedy. Let's say Jackie Kennedy on her wedding day to her first husband, JFK, John Fitzgerald Kennedy. And that dress actually was designed by a black woman. A black woman designed her dress. A black woman. I'm trying to find her. Woman designed that dress. I can't make this stuff up. But she called her folks Jewish, even though they were Muslim. Oh God, I can't make this stuff up, man. Even though we know who the real Hebrews are, right? We do know that, right? We do know that. Let me see her name. Her name was A.L.L. She designed Jackie O's dress. She designed that dress when she was for the elite families of elite white elite families. She designed dresses for them. She was very like picky about who she designed dresses for. But her name was A.L.L. I'll show a picture of Ann. She designed Jackie O's dress. So a lot of y'all didn't know that her dress was designed by a black woman. And not only there's a black woman, but a black woman who designed dress for the most powerful families in America, which y'all probably call the Illuminati. I love this stuff, man. This stuff is hilarious. That's her A.L.L. This black woman right there. She designed dress for the most prominent families in America. It's very in demand, very picky about who she designed these dresses for. See if I can read something about her. Let me see. They said some 800 guests saw the dress at the ceremony at St. Mary's Roman Catholic Church in Newport, Rhode Island. And 400 more watched it glide through the reception that evening. And then there were the 3,000 well-wishers who broke through police barricades to witness Jacqueline Lee Bouvier's arrival at her wedding to then Senator John Fitzgerald Kennedy. A photo of the newlyweds ran on the front page of the New York Times on September 13th, 1953. But the grainy black and white shot, the bride held obscured by her husband, couldn't do justice to the bouffant skirt and the layers of silk taffeta, the intricate scallop pintucks, and tiny flowers of wax, a fitting choice for the woman who would go on to become American royalty. The gown, like those worn by Kennedy bridesmaids, was the work of African-American designer A.L.L, who died in February 1981. That dress she made for Jackie Kennedy was widely photographed. Let me show y'all a picture of the dress right quick. I think it's important. I'm doing it for the culture, as y'all would say. But y'all look up A.L.L. I mean, Black history is better than science fiction or Hollywood movie. Where's the movie? I'm surprised Lee Daniels ain't trying to make a movie about her, right? I'm surprised he ain't trying to make a movie about her. Lee Daniels, the butler and stuff. What about the dressmaker? You got the butler. What about the dressmaker? Show the picture. It's y'all learning stuff. So it's JFK and Jackie O. See that the thing in the back? I want to see somebody twerk with that on. Okay, that's it. That dress she made for Jackie Kennedy was widely photographed. A lot of people saw it, and it no doubt influenced average American wedding dresses and ball gowns, said Elizabeth Way, an assistant curator at the museum at FIT. That's the Fashion Institute Technology up in New York. The fact that the dress came from the creativity of a black woman really speaks to how instrumental black people have been in shaping American culture. No crap, Sherlock. There will be no America without black people. We give y'all the economics and the culture. Okay. Show another picture. I'm trying to do this stuff. Just this Women's History Month, right? So I'm just trying to give y'all a little history about a black woman. Y'all always talking about some black girl magic stuff. So here y'all is. Brother Ron giving y'all the black girl magic. Okay. Talking about black girl magic. Show another picture of that dress. So, damn, Brother Ron be dropping knowledge. We don't be, who else be talking about A.L.L and Jackie O being a black Muslim? Who else doing it? I ain't talking about the Elijah Muhammad black Muslim. Now, that's another shot. I mean, that dress is wow. That's a showstopper, right? Okay. So that's the dress that A.L.L, Miss Lowe design. That's L-O-W-E. And let me read a little bit more. Society's best kept secret. And while the dress delighted the American public, the same cannot be said for the bride's own reaction. Oh, Jackie O didn't like the dress? You don't like the dress? You don't like me? You don't like the dress? According to fashion historian Kimberly Crispin Campbell, who is the author of a recently released book, The Way We Wed, A Global History of Wedding Fashion, Kennedy was no fan of the dress she wore to walk down the aisle. Even though it's a beautiful dress, it was not what she wanted, and she actually compared it to a lampshade. Crispin Campbell explained, it was chosen by her father-in-law to be, that's Joe Kennedy, Papa Kennedy, who wanted to create an American royalty moment and really set up his son as the heir to the family dynasty. Okay. So this is all by design. At that point, Lowell was an established arbiter of American high society style, delighting wealthy clients across the country, including Jacqueline's mother, Jeanette Lee Auchincloss, who commissioned Lowell to create her daughter's debutante and wedding dresses with made-to-order princess silhouettes and couture-level embellishment. Years later, the Saturday Evening Post described her as society's best-kept secret and unfamiliar except to the very rich. An unrepentant snob, Lowe was selective about her clients. Only the most elite were deserving of her efforts, the Rockefellers and the DuPonts of the world, as well as stars like Olivia de Havilland, who wore one of Lowe's hand-painted floor designs the night she won Best Actress at the 1947 Academy Awards. Okay, I see you. I love my clothes. I'm particular about who wears them, Lowe said in an interview with Ebony magazine. I am not interested in sewing for cafe society or social climbers. I do not cater to Mary and Sue. I sew for the families of the social register. To cater to her clientele, there was simply nothing she wouldn't do. After a flood in her Manhattan studio destroyed the Kennedy dresses just 10 days before the ceremony, she and her team worked day and night to ensure a new set was completed on time. She never mentioned a word of it to the family and absorbed the additional cost herself. Wow, that's black excellence. Black girl magic. Okay. Let me read this part. I'm going to quit. Inherited excellence. A.L.L was born in Clayton, Alabama. Alabama is an amazing place. In 1898, her grandmother, who had been born into slavery, and her mother ran an exclusive dressmaking business for wealthy patrons, and Lowell learned the craft from a young age. She had been working in dressmaking since she was a little girl, so she really had decades of experience by the time we get to the making of these ball gowns, these wedding gowns, these debutante gowns in the 1950s, where he said, at 16, Lowe took over the family business after the death of her mother. She later studied design in New York, segregated from her white peers. She graduated after only 6 months because of her exceptional abilities, before setting up shop in Florida, where she built her reputation for extravagance and exclusivity. After a decade, she returned to Manhattan to do the same on the East Coast. Wow, that's an amazing story. But the extreme wealth of the clients she so cherished wasn't enough to buoy her business. They would routinely talk her into lowering her prices, and she would often end up losing money from commissions. In 1963, she declared bankruptcy. A long-standing rumor suggests Kennedy might have anonymously paid off her debts to the IRS. By the time she retired in 1972, she was penniless. That's sad. Okay. She does the same amazing kind of job that Maine Bocher does. Fashion columnist Eugenia Shepard once remarked, referring to Maine Rousseau Bocher, Lowell's contemporary and the first American courtier. The difference is that Maine Bocher is a businessman as well as a designer, and he charges what he has to stay in business. Show one more dress from her, then I'm gonna move on. Okay. Like, Ron, why are you talking about this stuff? It's not what we want to hear. But she, the sad thing about it is, I thought she knew her value, but she didn't really know her value because she didn't charge enough for these amazing dresses. And that's really a shame. Let me show one more dress and then I'll move on. But that's the story about people. It's like, it reminded me of Nearest Green, right? He taught Jack Daniels how to do the whiskey. And his family just got the Uncle Nearest brand up, but his family never got compensated. Well, Jack Daniels, first and foremost, did not compensate Nearest Green like he should have. He should have been made a partner or a co-owner of Jack Daniels. And you had Nearest Green's descendants working as employees for Jack Daniels when they should have been shareholders. Generations of wealth they should have had, they didn't have. So I don't know, like, black people say, well, they stole it. No, we taught them. I told y'all that black folks are the mothers and fathers of civilization. We taught them. Greeks and Romans didn't go to Germany to learn. They went to Africa. Folks went to Timbuktu, Alexandria, to the library. I believe the Vatican took all that stuff. People wanted the library burned to the ground. They looted it. They looted the library and brought it back to the Vatican. A lot of stuff that probably was in Alexandria is probably in the Vatican to this day. So, think about it, we don't know who we are, right? But evidently she didn't know her value. She knew black excellence. She was great at what she did, but she didn't know her value. Now, that's sad, but that's Ann Lowe. Look her up. Annellowe. Lowe. Her last name, Lowe. First name, Ann, Anne. So I read somewhere recently, they said Beyonce is the wealthiest black musician of all time. That she became the wealthiest black musician back in 2014. They wouldn't let Sam Cooke get that high. They didn't let Otis Redding get that high, but Beyonce got it, man. Her and Jay-Z, right? But then how is that true if Kanye West is allegedly worth $6.6 billion? Now, I just read the headline. I didn't read into much detail about that, but they're saying Kanye West is worth $6.6 billion. I guess most of that came outside of music. I don't know. But I think y'all learned something from that. So let me see what y'all saying in the chat. Y'all got some interesting things y'all be like to say, right? Yeah. And case in point, Vin Diesel. What the hell is he? What is Vin Diesel? I remember I saw Saving Private Ryan. There were no black people in Saving Private Ryan. Then I saw Vin Diesel. Because my grandfather was actually a participant in D-Day. He was part of the Red Ball Express. Now, y'all look at who were the Red Ball Express. They're like the Tuskegee Airmen and truck drivers. You understand? That's who the Red Ball Express was. So they was in Normandy doing a D-Day invasion. So was Medgar Evers. He was a Red Ball Express person, I believe. And I know Judge Joe Brown said that his father was Red Ball Express. It'd be interesting to see if his father knew my grandfather. There's a lot of mixed people in Hollywood. Yep. Matter of fact, y'all should look up Freddie Washington. Freddie Washington played in the first Imitation of Life. Because there's two Imitation of Life. A lot of y'all like the one with what's the white lady name? The white actress who died or killed her boyfriend who was a mobster. Johnny Stompanato. Something Turner. What is it? Lana Turner. That was her name. She played in that second Imitation Life that came out in the 50s. And I believe the sister Juanita Moore was the maid. But the first Imitation Life came out, I believe, in the 30s. And Freddie Washington was the daughter who was trying to pass, right? And she actually was a high yellow black woman. She was gorgeous, right? She used to be Duke Ellington's girlfriend. But when Duke didn't marry her, she ended up marrying Duke Ellington's trombonist, Lawrence Brown. Y'all look her up. Look up Freddie Washington. Well, she was the daughter in the first Imitation of Life. And she was a proud race woman, but she didn't want to pass. Because they said, man, we can make you a big star if you would pass for white. And she didn't want to do it. Just like Lena Horne. They're trying to get Lena Horne to pass at one point. And she didn't want to do it. So I respect them sisters. And Freddie Washington, her sister was her sister was married to Adam Clayton Powell Jr. at one point. Thank you for the donation, brother Ronaldo from South Carolina. South Carolina love. I appreciate you. We love you madly. Thank y'all for sending on donations. Brother Michael, appreciate it. I'm gonna show a picture of Freddie Washington, but her sister was married to Adam Clayton Powell Jr. at one point. I think she was married. She was married before Adam Clayton Powell Jr. Before he was married to Hazel Scott, another pioneering black woman of excellence. I didn't look up Hazel Scott as well. There's a lot of people that we should remember that we don't remember, and we got to do a better job. We got to do a better job of remembering our ancestors, our righteous ancestors. But let me find a picture of Freddie Washington right quick. So we talking about hidden colors. And it is Women History Month, right? And the spirit of Fannie Lou is out here, y'all. The spirit of Fannie Lou is out here. So I found a picture of Freddie Washington. They said, if you pass for a white woman, we make you a big star. She said, no, I don't want to be white. I love being black. And I believe her folks were from Georgia, but I think she died in Connecticut. And she almost lived to be 100 years old, I want to say. That's Freddie Washington. A couple pictures. It's a good looking black woman. That's Freddie Washington. She was in the first Imitation of Life. But she loved being a black woman. Damn, 49, she wasn't bad. Okay. But check out the Imitation Life, the first one that came out in the 30s, I believe. Interesting movie. That's Duke Ellington. Duke Ellington had women, man. Duke was married one time to his son's mother. And Duke, man, Duke was always a ladies' man. And the mom, I believe, slashed him on his face. He had a scar on his face. Because I guess he was an infidel. You know, he loved women too much. And his wife, I think, cut him on the face with a knife or something. So he had a mark on his face. The pretty boy had a mark on his face. I guess it's a beauty mark, but Duke loved the women. But Freddie ended up marrying his trombonist, Lawrence Brown, because Duke wouldn't marry her. And Duke, I always tell people, man, you want to learn about black leadership, study the jazz band leaders. Because Duke Ellington was an interesting dude because he had a working jazz band for 50 plus years. I mean, he was in his 20s and all the way up to the day he died. He had a working jazz band back in 74. And you hit them guys, they used to fight. I heard Ben Webster. I love Ben Webster, the saxophonist from Kansas City, the tenor saxophonist. They said Benny Webster slapped Duke Ellington one. He slapped the shit out of Duke Ellington. He used to date Billie Holiday. He said they say he used to beat the hell out of Billie Holiday. But he listened to his music. He's like, oh man, he's like a teddy bear. Slapping people. She didn't care you with Billie Holiday or Duke Ellington, allegedly. But Duke didn't really fire anybody. The only person I think he ever fired was Charlie Mingus. And Charles Mingus was crazy. I love Charles Mingus. They both Tauruses. Charles Mingus was born April 22nd, 1922. Duke was born April 29th, 1899. But Duke was interesting. You also read his autobiography. I think it's out of print. Music is his mistress, or music was, or I think, and music is his mistress, or something like that. I remember this Duke Ellington expert told me that he didn't have a sister, and he worked at Smithsonian. He still, I think, works at the Smithsonian, right? But the time I talked to that guy was 2005, right? Duke Ellington's sister died in 2004. They had a New York Times article or obituary for her. That's how well known she was. And she was over his publishing company. Duke let her be in charge of his publishing, and she was well educated. She went to, I think, Columbia University or NYU, got a degree in chemistry or biology. I mean, she was very well educated, a beautiful woman. And she was over his publishing company, and she sold it for a pretty good price. She sold his publishing. And so I'm saying this dude was a Duke Ellington expert. Tell me that Duke Ellington didn't have no sister. When not only did she have an interest in life, but she donated his papers or gave his papers to the Smithsonian. Gave his papers to the Smithsonian, and the dude was telling me that who said that Duke Ellington didn't have a sister. How you work at the Smithsonian and didn't know that his sister gave y'all his papers? I guess he think niggas didn't read. I don't know. He's like he was a decent guy, but he was talking about how Wynton Marsalis went into those archives and got inspiration from Duke Ellington to do his album, his suite known as Blood on the Fields, about slavery. And it's interesting. He won the Pulitzer. Wynton Marsalis became the first jazz artist to win a Pulitzer for his Blood on the Fields suite. And what's crazy? He got inspiration from Duke Ellington. He used the blueprint that Duke Ellington put down. And the Pulitzer people would not give Duke Ellington a damn Pulitzer back in 1966, I believe. This man, he was about 66, 67 years old. Duke Ellington is arguably the greatest composer in American history, of any genre of music in American history. And he could not win a Pulitzer after doing all this amazing work. And Duke had so much class. He said something like, I guess God don't want me to be famous too young. But what I like is the fact that Richard Nixon did celebrate Duke Ellington for his birthday. He gave him a great honor. And what people don't know about Richard Nixon, yeah, he was a white supremacist to some, and yeah, he definitely was a racist. But they said he was a hell of a musician. That he could play all types of instruments. Like even the jazz guys were amazed by Richard Nixon. I think he played some piano for Duke Ellington for his birthday. So with that said, people got, it's like I talk about philanthropy and humanitarian. You could be a philanthropist and hate people. You could be humanitarian and be poor, but be rich in talent and giving. So yeah. But now they, they got a thing where they want to make Duke Ellington white because we don't study history. I heard folks they try to make Charlie Parker white. They made Beethoven. People say that's stupid. They can't make no Charlie Parker or Duke Ellington white. They made Beethoven white. They made Babe Ruth white. So, but anyway, Babe Ruth not white. He from Baltimore. Look at how he look. He's like an Olmec head. Look at Babe Ruth's face. I remember I went down to the Ty Cobb Museum down where he's from in Georgia. Ty Cobb, the great baseball player. They lied on Ty Cobb too, but they said he was called Babe Ruth nigger lips. There were the baseball players who's called Babe Ruth. They call him nigger lips. Babe Ruth's favorite baseball player was a black man named John Henry Pop Lloyd. He said that was the greatest baseball player of all time. According to him, that's Babe Ruth. He said this black dude played shortstop in the Negro Leagues named John Henry Pop Lloyd. Look him up. They call him the Black Honus Wagner. Honus Wagner has the most expensive baseball card in history. He was a shortstop for the Pittsburgh Pirates back in the early 1900s. And he was a white dude, a Dutchman. They call him the Flying Dutchman from Pittsburgh. And when they told him that they called John Henry Pop Lloyd the Black Honus Wagner, he said it was an honor to be compared to him. He said it was a true honor. If you don't know about black people, man, we are phenomenal. Like I said, Babe Ruth thought the greatest baseball player was that guy, John Henry Pop Lloyd. Joe DiMaggio, Mr. 56 game hitting streak. He said the greatest pitcher he ever faced was Satchel Paige. Satchel Paige didn't join the major leagues probably until he was in his 40s. He helped the Cleveland Indians win the World Series, I believe, not in either 47, not 48 or 49. I don't know. I think he helped them win the World Series then. But y'all can look that up. But he was an old man. He was past his prime, still pitching very effectively in the major leagues. So history is fascinating. But yeah. Yeah, Clark Gable. They say he, the thing about tall, dark, and handsome, that's Clark Gable. They said Clark Gable was passing. Because he got mad, I think, how they treated Hattie McDaniel, who starred. Hattie McDaniel got she played the maid in Gone with the Wind. And I think he was very upset how she got treated on certain occasion. And yeah, so it's not surprising. A lot of people pass in Hollywood. Yeah, Carol Channing, she admitted that she was black. I even heard that Dinah Shore, the entertainer, they said she was black. Let me show a picture of this stuff is interesting. I ain't expect to stay this long on Hidden Colors, But let's see. And then they were talking about Meghan Markle being the first mixed race person, or what they call black person, mixed race, because she don't really want to be black. She doesn't. She glad her son was light. They talking about the royal family was glad he wasn't too light. I mean, he was too dark. She was glad he wasn't too dark. Hell, Meghan was relieved that he wasn't too dark. Talking about the royal family, but yeah, I know who that is. That's Queen Charlotte, right? House of Mecklenburg, King George III wife, who was King of England during the time of the American Revolutionary War. You could tell she black, but you don't have to look at that face. Look at her. That's a black or a colored person. Let's say a colored person. That's Queen Charlotte. She, look at some of her portraits. You tell she got some kinky hair, them full lips, their nose, them flaring nostrils. I know people in my family look like her. You understand? So that's King George III's wife's House of Mecklenburg. Charlotte, North Carolina is named after her. Charlotte is in Mecklenburg County. So it's named after Queen Charlotte. So what else? So Princess Meghan or whatever she is not the first mixed race person or black person in the so-called royal family. There's several people in the royal family. Hell, they say Jack the Ripper was a royal. So it is what it is. Ain't no big deal. Just point that out. Yeah, that's a picture I want to show, and then I'm gonna move on. It's funny how, let's see. Show a picture. Y'all gonna be surprised, man. Thanks a lot for being patient. Oh my God. Stuff is weird. Hidden Colors. I need to make a documentary series about that. Not Hidden Colors, not Tariq stuff. Hidden Colors. Probably sue me for some type of trademark infringement on copyright infringement. Who that is, y'all? Who that be? Look at that. That's Lonnie Anderson as a young woman. Look at her. That's Burt Williams' first wife. Let's look at this. That Lonnie Anderson. That's her as a young woman. It's like she black to me. I don't know what's going on with that. That's Lonnie Anderson, right? Look at that picture. So it's interesting how that works. I think that's when she high school. I mean, maybe she, got that Jackie O thing going. That's her. That's her right there. Oh, that's this picture right here. That's her right there. Kind of dark and kind of swarty. Like she got Italian blood. She's Sicilian or something. But anyway, I just wanted to point that out. Oh man, I can't make this stuff up. But I think that's enough for Hidden Colors for this episode. And yeah, Eisenhower, yeah, look, I'll tell y'all what. I don't want to keep on showing all these pictures like we're doing some slideshow. Picture pages, come and get your picture pages. remember picture pages from Nickelodeon with Bill Cosby. I remember all that. I'm dating myself. But I can look up the Dwight Eisenhower, look up his mama picture as a young woman. She mixed with something. Look up Jefferson Davis, the president of the Confederacy. Look up a picture with his wife. You could tell she mixed with something. Even the vice president of the Confederacy, Judah P. Benjamin from New Orleans. His wife would be classified as an octoroon. So, I mean, race matters, right? One drop rule and all that stuff. But I can go on and on with this stuff. But this is something that, I'm not going to come to the defense of Jackie Kennedy if they won't claim that. Another thing, her father was called Black Jack. That was his name. People would think, well, Black Jack Bouvier, right? He was tall, dark, and handsome. People would think that Black Jack came from his love of blackjack, but no, I think they call him Black Jack because he was dark. Look up a picture of Jackie Kennedy's father. He was dark, but they call him Black Jack. But anyway, let's talk about Samaria Rice right quick. Not right quick, but let's talk about it. Show this statement. As y'all know, she just started going off. She set it off on the left, y'all. I suggest y'all set it off. She set it off, man. This weekend, y'all gotta understand that Sunday was the 44th anniversary of the transition of Fannie Lou Hamer, one of our greatest Black leaders, man or woman. Fannie Lou Hamer held it down for the Black family. She knew that Black families matter. And I believe Sister Samaria Rice, the mother of Tamir Rice, who got assassinated, murdered in cold blood, lynched by the police up in Cleveland back in 2014. He was just 12 years young, but they keep on calling him a young man. He wasn't a young man. He was a boy. They're always trying to make our Black people, our boys, older than what they are. That's the trick. So they do that to make people desensitized to what happens to them by the system. So he was just 12 years young when them police shot him. That police officer came out of his door without even properly addressing the young boy and shot him down like it was nothing. But she came out furious, came out with a fury against Tamika Mallory and the Black Lives Matter coalition. I don't look at Grammys. That's why I don't care for the Grammys. But Tamika Mallory was on the Grammys with Little Baby, the Bigger Picture song. She did a little thing. Yeah, I remember she's a disciple of Al Sharpton. And who was Al Sharpton's Jegna? Who was Al Sharpton's Jegna? I ain't talking about the Genovese crime family or the FBI, James Brown. So entertainment and movement goes hand in hand, right? Activism and entertainment always been there. I'm an artivist, but it just set her off. And I'm gonna show the official statement of what she said, because she called out not only Tamika Mallory or Black Lives Matter, but also Lee Merritt, Ben Crump, Ambulance Chasers for Hire, some other people, even Sean King, Tackle Max, y'all got all the names, run the names down on the brother, or not necessarily the brother, but the world's a stage. But let me show the statement, official statement, as they say. So I can show you the Facebook post, but this is the official statement. It's more PG-13. It's more Coming to America versus the original Coming to America. Now, she was doing a stand-up from the 80s on her Facebook page when it came to clowning these people. But let me show this. Okay. And I'll read it and I'll go into it. Official statement from Samaria Rice, mother of Tamir Rice, and Lisa Simpson, mother of Richard Reeser. Or Rice or Reeser. Okay, Reeser. Tamika D. Mallory, Sean King, Benjamin Crump, Lee Merritt, Patrice Cullors, Melina Abdullah, and the Black Lives Matter Global Network need to step down, stand back, and stop monopolizing and capitalizing our fight for justice and human rights. We never hired them to be the representatives in the fight for justice for our dead loved ones murdered by the police. The quote activists unquote have events in our cities and have not given us anything substantial for using our loved ones' images and names on their flyers. The attorneys in our fight are also misleading the impacted families. In the case of Tamir Rice, it was even questionable as to whether Benjamin Crump knew the laws in depth in the state of Ohio. I fired him 6 to 8 months into Tamir's case. We don't want or need y'all parading in the streets, accumulating donations, platforms, movie deals, etc. after the death of our loved ones, while the families and communities are left clueless and broken. Don't say our loved ones' names, period. That's our truth. Okay. And right on, sister. And the thing about it is, she did get a settlement. She got money out of she got millions of dollars herself, her and her family, but they could never bring back Tamir. They cannot bring back the loss of her child under those horrible circumstances. So right on to her for not letting that money silence her, for getting the bag. She got the bag, but she didn't let that silence her. Her pain is real. I remember a couple years ago when LeBron James acted like he never heard of the Tamir Rice case, and that's his quote unquote hometown. He's a hometown hero, right? He helped revitalize Cleveland's economy, but he was scared to talk on Tamir Rice. But it's like he said last year, black men, women, and children hide the kids. Well, we's afraid. We's afraid. We's afraid. I thought for all the black people. Well, I said we's afraid. We's afraid. Now he don't talk for me, but but he said, I don't know about Tamir Rice. I don't know about that case. And she called him out on that. So she's been consistent on calling these folks out. And she makes a lot of great points. Because my thing is, this is the commodification of Black death. And that's always been the American way. Black death has always been a money-making scheme for America. Black folks think, oh man, that George Floyd family, right? They gave him $27 million. They already, people raised millions of dollars for him. My thing is, so they say, since Minneapolis gave y'all the bag, that means we could let this dude off the hook, this Derek Chauvin guy. No, it shouldn't mean that. They should get why is it that? My thing is, this system will never give us what we say we want. If you want justice, you'll never get it from a system like this. People talking about Breonna Taylor with no disrespect to her sister, but like Tupac said, niggas been dying for years, so how can't they blame us? Y'all don't say Sandra Bland no more. We forgot about Sandra. People say we didn't forget about her. I mean, black folks kind of weird, man. Our lives don't matter unless white people say it matters, unless white cop kill us. If white folks don't kill us or do nothing to us, we don't, if it's a black person that kill us, oh, whatever. Put some teddy bears up on a telephone pole or some stuff, and people like, I got all the teddy bears in the middle of the street on this telephone pole. But I'm saying, when oh my God, I think about the people. I think about King D. I'm never gonna stop mentioning his name. Just like I've been knowing about Fred Hampton for 21 years. Think about what happened to Darren Seals, King D down in Ferguson, when he tried to warn the people about these Black Lives Matters LLC. And folks just clown him, they disrespecting him. And you still look at his videos. I would suggest you save those videos, because, the way they doing the cancel culture and they are scrubbing the internets of the real history of the people's history. Darren Seals told y'all, I mean, they say he was the one that slapped D-Ray McKesson with the guy that wear the jacket thing, whatever. So-called activist, I guess Bayer Rustin 2.0, whatever. No disrespect to Bayer Rustin. But he told y'all how it was a hostile corporate takeover of the grassroots movement they started to get justice for Mike Brown. For not just Mike Brown, for Black people. You got sincere people out here that have risked it all. They have put their lives on the line. They have endangered their families for standing on truth. All these Black activists, in particular these Black male activists that have been murdered or murked, or this Black males connected to the case, like Mike Brown friend, DeAndre Johnson, that's the cat name, who got killed on the same day that the local DA or whatever prosecutor said he was not going to pursue charges against Darren Wilson. I remember when this happened, I was up in Michigan about the this is like the day before Thanksgiving or the day of misgiving. and they're gonna hold their press conference at nighttime. And they killed this boy. They tortured him up in the car. They lynched him and tortured him in his car, not that far from the press conference in Ferguson. You can't tell me that law enforcement or surveillance wasn't around in that area to see what really happened. Like when they used to catch these black churches on fire back in the 90s. You know, there's always an inside job. So what I'm saying is, we are weak people when we cannot demand accountability and transparency in the deaths of our people that put themselves on the line for us. Now, where's the bag for King D and his family? Where's the bag? Where's the severance pay? Where's the pension for his family? You know, George Floyd, I mean, he shouldn't have died like that, but it's the way. Look, it's like Sandra Bland. She shouldn't have died. But at the same time, what I saw in that video, I would not have acted like that I don't act like that with the police, because I'm not trying to prove nothing to these bastards. You understand? I'm trying to survive the encounter, but they don't justify our cowardice and saying that, you know, well, she shouldn't have did that. I said, no, it ain't about what she should or should not have done. It's about the fact that she should not have been dead at the end of the weekend. She should not have been dead in that damn mugshot. It should have been somebody answering for that. It should have been some answering. It should have been some accountability, some consequences and repercussions for what happened to that sister, because they said it happened before in that particular jail. It's like with Catfish Benny, you know, Benny Thompson. He trying to go after Trump on some BS. You got all these black folks end up dead under questionable circumstances in jail cells in Mississippi for the last 40 years. Got black people hanging themselves in predominantly affluent white neighborhoods in Mississippi. They talking about the suicide. Well, I'm gonna go to a white neighborhood to hang myself, like a Christmas ornament. Why Benny Thompson? And then Benny, what about Camp Van Dorn, man? I'm gonna do a show on Camp Van Dorn. Y'all probably never heard of Camp Van Dorn. It still exists in Mississippi, but there's a claim saying that almost 1,500 GIs, black GIs, were lynched by the military police and buried in a mass grave down there in Camp Van Dorn, Mississippi. A white dude named Carol Case wrote a book about it. He said he heard it from a white security guard. He used to be MP on the base back in the 80s. Like he was a bank executive or something. The white guy told him, hey, man, we killed a whole bunch of black GIs during the war and buried them in a mass grave down there in Camp Van Dorn. So he wrote a book about it. It became a bestseller. There were talks of doing a feature movie. The U.S. Army, the NACP was asking for an investigation to it was possible that these 1,500 black GIs got murdered by the U.S. government, by the U.S. Army, and kept a secret, because it was, you know. But I'm gonna do a show. Jesus Christ, God. I'm gonna do a show about it. I have people contacting me. I mean, somebody contacted me a couple years ago saying, "Brother Ron, I heard you talk about Camp Van Dorn." She said her mama, who was a white lady, she was living in the town, and she said her mom said it really happened. So you got white folks that said this shit happened. Then you got people, the government saying, we don't know, we don't think it happened. They're gonna do a full investigation, right? And then guess what happened? September 11 happened. So Benny Thompson and NACP, the Black Congressional Caucus, they were all up. We want answers. Like, what happened to Camp Van Dorn back in 43? I think it was either 43 or 44. But I'm gonna do a show about it. And I talked to Carol Case a couple months ago. I said, Carol, it's been 20 years. I said, do you still stand by what you said in your book? I read this book. It was good. He said, yeah, it happened, Ron. It really happened. And this is a white dude. He said, yeah, my people, it really happened. They killed all them GIs. So I'm going to get some information together. I'm going to do a show about that for posterity, because I found some news footage. It was a TV station down in Jackson that did a limited series on what happened at Camp Van Dorn. They actually interviewed white and black folks who were in the military, white folks who worked on the base, civilians, MP, whatever. People said that it happened. These white folks said that it happened. That they killed all them black soldiers, and nobody ever answered for it. And the soldiers that they killed were they were uppity soldiers. You ever saw that movie, A Soldier Story? Is that the movie? Howard Rollins, Denzel Washington, Adolf Caesar. David and Alan Greer, Robert Townsend. I love A Soldier Story. Is it called A Soldier Story? Like, you got to think about it. Okay. Now, they say it happened. So I'm going to talk about Kim Van Dorn in the upcoming show. Nobody talks about this stuff. But Benny Thompson, why you haven't investigated? Why y'all dropped the ball on Kim Van Dorn, man? I know September 11 happened, but why wasn't there follow through about Kim Van? This is 20 years later, and we still don't know defensively at an official level what actually happened to them black GIs. Because the thing about Uncle Sam, what y'all don't understand about military, is that once you sign your name on that dotted line, you become property of Uncle Sam. Kanye told y'all that slavery is a choice. So when you join the military, I'm not look, do what you got to do. But what I'm saying is they could do whatever they want to with you and tell your family something. They don't have to tell your family the truth about what happened to you. What did Jack Nicholson say in A Few Good Men? You can't handle the truth. When you remember Pat Tillman, the football player from the Arizona Cardinals? September 11 happened, and he said, I'm gonna join the military, forget my NFL career, forget my millions of dollars I'm leaving on the table. I think he was like, he joined, was an Army Ranger, Green Beret or something. He got killed in Afghanistan. The government told his family one thing, the official story, but then his family said it don't sound right. They started investigating to what happened to Pat Tillman, found out he was killed by friendly fire. He might have been killed by some folks that didn't care for him. It's a thing, it's a phenomenon. It's called fragging. Fragging. It's called fragging. I think that's it. I heard about this from a Vietnam nurse, a black Vietnam nurse. She told me about this. How sometimes the black soldiers in the field will kill their white commanding officers. It's not just a black-white thing. I'm saying what she told me about her experience in Vietnam. Sometimes some of the black soldiers, when they got in the field, these white officers that disrespected them during the training camp, they would actually kill them on purpose. So friendly fire could be fragging. That's a nice way of doing a fragging. Let me see. I got it right. Yep. It's even a dictionary, frag or fragging. Look it up. That's F-R-A-G, fragging. So I think he was a victim of fragging. Cause I think he was like one of those Mr. Patriotic gun-ho guys or something like that. And people like, I'm tired of this dude being all this energetic, rah, 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 rah. People, you got people like that. I mean, I work with people, man. It's like, no matter, like, especially you in a supervisor position, like I was a supervisor with all black crew. Them people hate your guts, man. I ain't gonna say all, but it's funny working with our people because I was the youngest person in the crew, but I was a supervisor. So these people like 20 something years older than me. The oldest person on the crew, like 73 or 74, I'm like 40. So some of these folks, they had a problem with me. No matter how nice I said something or how generous or what, they were like, man, you ain't my, who the hell you think you talking to? And I said, look, I'm the supervisor. I didn't call you out your name. Just do your job. I don't micromanage. Just do your job. Some people think you can't please everybody. But yeah, fragging is a real phenomenon. So they found out the truth. It's a documentary out about what happened to Pat Tillman, really. But like I said, loved ones concerned about your relatives, how they died in the military. Military don't have to tell you what happened to them. I know I was seeing this woman. Also messing around. I was seeing this woman. This was some years ago. Her brother was stationed out in San Diego. And he was in good health. He was in the military. Young guy. I think he was in his late 20s. But then all of a sudden he got sick and died. And they never knew what really happened. They just, what the military told him. Like he was like, he had no health, no prior or preconditions, whatever. And all of a sudden they said he died a horrible death. They never told, they told them something, but I don't think they told them what actually happened to him. And they never went deep into it. Was like I interviewed the father of Private First Class Lavina Johnson. Y'all don't know if y'all familiar with the case, but Google up Lavina Johnson, Lavena Johnson. I interviewed her father back in 2009 when I came back from Barack Obama's first inauguration. They told her family that she committed suicide. And then they did a second autopsy to find out that not only did she not commit suicide, but she was raped. Because they tried to burn her in a tent. And that the gun, the bullet that killed her came from a gun of either a high-ranking officer or a high-ranking contractor. And I believe now the family got the information about the actual person who did it, but the military ain't doing nothing about it because that happens all the time. Like 1 out of 3 women gets raped in the military or sexually assaulted. 1 out of 5 men get sexually assaulted or raped in the military. And those are numbers that from maybe several years, it might be updated. It might be worse now. I don't know. But there's a lot of cases I would like to talk about in the near future by some, especially black women getting killed in the military, and they calling it suicide. And sometimes it was actually people they work with, they might have had a relationship with, or people they work with and killed them. And it's a lot of those cases. Because you even look at what happened in Fort Hood. All that weird shit going on in Fort Hood, man. Like that beautiful Latina that got killed, allegedly by the black boy who killed himself, allegedly. Then all these folks, when they were looking for her, they found some other person that been dead and missing. You remember that Fort Hood too, about almost 10 years ago, when that Muslim chaplain, was he a chaplain or Muslim psychologist or psychiatrist at the base at Fort Hood, killed a whole bunch of people at the base? Fort Hood is interesting. It's named after a Confederate general. It's down in Texas, Fort Hood, Texas. I think they need to close that MF down because there's some bad juju at Fort Hood because all them weird things going on, people killing each other, missing persons, mass shootings. That all happened within the last 10 years down in Fort Hood. And, you know, Private First Class Jessica Lynch, I believe, was from Fort Hood. Was Shoshana Johnson, the people that got kidnapped supposedly by the Iraqis. You know, they made her into like a hero. You don't know what really happened in Private First Class Jessica Lynch. And I had a cousin, he told me some things. He served with both of them. You know, Shoshana Johnson was a Panamanian American, I believe. Y'all look all this stuff up, man. Damn, it's 2 hours. Well, I'll probably talk about Black Lives Matter. But was Sister Rice. I think she got a great point. And people forget, man, we too busy living lives that are very meaningless. They killed Eric Garner's daughter. She was just as outspoken, if not more so, than Samaria Rice is. You know, she died of a broken heart, man. Her family got millions of dollars, but she wanted her daddy. They didn't bring back her daddy. And she was all about the judges and black folks. Oh, she's wild. Y'all was saying, shut her up. Be quiet. She was speaking for us, man. She was a young black mother. She was young when she died. Nobody talks about her anymore. I can't believe that been almost 7 years ago this summer that Eric Garner happened. That stuff is crazy. Think about it's almost 6 years ago when Sandra Bland happened. Yeah, Ava Gardner. I got some stories about Ava. I know guys that worked in showbiz, and like they told me, like Mr. Emerson Ava told me, Junior, nobody dies from natural death in showbiz. Thank God for the Do Nation. Gave this donation. I appreciate. We love you madly. Marcus Collin, thank you. I'm glad you appreciate the content. I know I'd be rambling around. I just hope to God I'm hitting some points with y'all. But it's so much I like to share, and I'm so like it's overwhelming me right now. I'm very like there's a lot of shit going on, and not just with me, but just with the world. And when you sensitive to a lot of this shit, it's like, man, like I said, I'll be getting up in the morning. So what the hell going on with me? And people don't think black men need therapy. We all need therapy. Black men, we need each other to help each other and uplift each other, man. Because it's tough to be a black man. It's like with Kirk Franklin's son. He thought he gonna get some sympathy. Nobody don't care about no grown black man getting cursed out. Dick Gregory used to curse me all the time. Nobody didn't care. I thought it was funny. Shit was like, he's been me. Shit, nah, it wasn't cool. But when you understand what was going on, see, I understand better now what was happening with him. And like I said, I'll say that for another time. It's not even important to talk about, but no, man. It's interesting. But we don't take care of our fighters, man. We talking about Breonna Taylor, not disrespecting her, but she wasn't like a movement woman. George Floyd wasn't Malcolm X. You know, and people talking about, well, that letter's fake. It's not. Well, let's say the letter fake, but who really did kill Malcolm X? The government did. Yeah, I ain't gonna let these folks like people like Ray Wood is not a hero, man. He is not a hero. He did the bidding of the government. Even like a dude from who killed Malcolm X Netflix. I know he interviewed Ray Wood's daughter. A dude named Ray Wood, right? His daughter and him was not on the best of terms, man. So it's quite possible, because that dude, he used to stay with that guy. It's quite possible that the dude told him that he had remorse about being involved in helping the government kill Malcolm. Now, the dude may have written, his cousin may have written that letter, whatever, but it is quite possible that that dude did confess his involvement and the government's involvement in the death of Malcolm X. It does not get the government out the hook. It's like they trying to make it where they could get the government off the hook for killing Malcolm X. You cannot get the government off the hook for killing Malcolm X, because John Ali, the national secretary for the nation, who used to be Malcolm's friend, was FBI. He was FBI. I think he's still alive, because dude interviewed him for Who Killed Malcolm X. Then the white man he working with, I don't know, David Garrow, whatever the dude, white boy that did a Dr. King biography years ago. That dude is making it his mission to destroy the legacy of Dr. King now, based on the FBI document that came out in 2017. How you gonna trust the FBI on information concerning Dr. King, man? Now he won Pulitzer Prize off of Dr. King's life story. Now he want to bring the man down, and he working with that brother. I don't know what that brother agenda is. I don't have no ill will towards that brother. He doing his God work. What I'm saying is, like, even with the Who Killed Malcolm X thing, is flawed, because you didn't talk about Pinto, Gama Pinto, who got killed over in Kenya just a couple days after Malcolm. You ain't talking about Leon 4X Amir. You didn't interview none of his family. He had a whole bunch of kids. And he went to the FBI and said that he knew who was trying to kill Malcolm X. Next thing you know, he dead in a hotel in Boston. This would be Muhammad Ali's press secretary. And he wanted Malcolm X, confidants in Muslim Mosque Incorporated, an organization for Afro-American unity. So what I'm saying is, we need to stop this being like lazy with it and really delve deep into this stuff. Just take care of me. Elijah Muhammad killed Malcolm. No, it's government killed him. Now, Elijah Muhammad, y'all can read The Judas Factor, written by Carl Evans. And they said Malcolm found out that, he'll get them big paychecks from H.L. Hunt, the guy who was involved in the Kennedy assassination, the guy whose son Lamar Hunt founded the American Football League that became the American Football Conference. His son also founded the Dallas Texans, who became the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, Lamar Hunt and his brothers tried to take over the silver market back in the 70s. They tried to do some Dr. Evil shit. But they don't talk about that part of Lamar Hunt's. They don't talk about his daddy. They don't talk about some of the other things Lamar Hunt was involved in. But that's good, because Lamar Hunt was one of the first football owners to really start looking at HBCUs for football talent. It was the American Football Conference that started drafting black players out the HBCUs. You got to also think about Al Davis was one of the co-founders of the American Football League, which became the AFC, right? The Raiders. That Al Davis. Al Davis was like the John Brown of football. Al Davis was interesting. But while I'm talking about this stuff is deep, man. This stuff is deep. But listen to Malcolm's message to the grassroots, right? He broke down the farce on Washington, how it was the white liberals and the money interests and the Kennedy administration behind that movement. He broke that down, the message to the grassroots. He spoke about that on November 10th, 1963 in Detroit, Michigan. Listen to the message to the grassroots. Also check out his prospects for freedom. He break down how, you got to play good cop, bad cop when it comes to black liberation. He breaks that down beautifully. And that's why they had to kill Malcolm. He made the complex too plain. He made the complex plain. That's why they killed him and Dr. King. That's one of the reasons. But it's interesting, man. But like I don't have no hatred towards Tamika Mallory or the Black Lesbians Matter people. I don't have nothing. But the Mike Brown Sr. and Samaria Rice, yeah, they got money, but they can't bring their kids back. And today them, but tomorrow who? Who's the next hashtag? Like I said, we don't elevate our people, because Fannie Lou Hamer had the answers, man. She did the Freedom Co-op. She did affordable housing. This was a black woman that lived on a plantation most of her life. Didn't know she could do something about her situation until she was 44 years old and lived to be only 59 years old or young. But she was doing the stuff in the 70s that it's like it's alienating us to now, because we arguing about damn people making contracts with Black America, like, oh my God, it's horrible. We don't know how to politic or advocate for our causes anymore. We went from wanting justice just to want settlements. This reminds me of what's going on, because this is how we don't study history. A lot of y'all don't know about Gen 6. Y'all forgot about the Gen 6 movement, right? I can't forget about the Gen 6 movement. Because one of my friends from that movement was Marcus Jones. Marcus Jones was the father of Michael Bell. Michael Jones was like a blue collar working dude. I mean, he was nobody that was trying to be a leader. It's like Fannie Lou Hamer. Like he got involved in this situation and just became a activist. He was a natural activist. He not only advocated for his son, but he was advocating for Black people. And the media, they try to use the media to destroy. They try to use Black women to destroy Marcus Jones, whether it be his baby mama or his son's lawyer or anybody. They'll use him because he was too strong. He was an alpha Black man. He didn't believe in wearing no dress. He believed in standing up. He was living in Dallas, living his life, and his son got in trouble. Went back to Gina, Louisiana, to advocate for his son, to fight for his son, to fight for them boys. His son was the only one that actually saw any prison time, any jail time in the whole thing with the Gen 6. And he was disappointed. He was the guy that connected me with Dick Gregory. Because he the one told me, brother, Ron, why don't you interview Dick? He gave me Dick's home phone number. Somebody answered, I thought it was his maid. But come to find out, probably was Lillian or Lil, because she was very shy. And sometimes I guess I heard she would answer the phone and pretend like she was a maid or something. I think that was her, but it took me maybe a year or two to hook up, finally, to follow back through with connecting with Dick Gregory. But he was the one that told me I should reach out to him and gave me the phone number. And the rest is history. But they'll try to destroy Marcus Jones for being a strong Black man. I mean, even how they'll try to wrap up, because Michael Basin was working with Al Sharpton to bring more notoriety and attention to the Gen 6 situation, because it was a grassroots movement, right? I was one of the first media outlets in the country to interview the original participants in the Gen 6, because it didn't start with no Al Sharpton or no Jesse Jackson or Michael Basin. It started with a brother named Tony Brown, who still got a radio show out in Alexandria, Louisiana. He was the guy that organized the people originally. He was the one that coined the phrase Gen 6, a local Black radio talk show host down in Louisiana. Tony Brown, not the Tony Brown's Journal, but another brother named Tony Brown, right? A good brother. It's like all brothers named Tony Brown are good people. But he was the one that organized the parents, got them connected with legal representation, started contacting other media outlets. He followed everything before it became Gen 6. He followed it when there was a confrontation between the Black and white students at the whites only tree. Because this all started about, can Black students congregate and sit around the whites only tree at Gina High School? It wasn't like officially named the whites only tree, but it was unofficially known as the whites only tree. And then start escalating to different events and incidents and skirmishes. And then what happened to Michael Bell and some of the other guys who became known as Gen 6 allegedly jumped this white boy who disrespected them. Kind of like a Reginald Denny moment. Reginald Denny, the white truck driver doing the Rodney King riots. Now y'all say, well, them Black folks beat the hell out of him. They hit his head with cinder blocks and stuff. But from my understanding, he said something that was very disrespectful to them Black people. Not saying that it was right, but Black folks back in 92 are different from Black folks in 2019 or 2020. We still had our revolutionary mind to a certain point. Black folks were different back then. Because listen to some of the videos from that. You didn't have no social media back then, but Black folks were talking tough. Then all of a sudden, look at we now. We so soft right now. But we were a little bit tougher back in 92 than we are now. But it's all social engineering. But they like the white boy, they beat him up real bad. So they're trying to charge him as adults, right? Send them to jail away for a long, long time. So Tony Brown helped organize that, start some momentum, some other people. But then Al Sharpton came over, and then he brought in Michael Basin. And then they did that everybody came down to Gina to protest. I think that was September 20th, 2007. But that summer, I was one of the first media outlets stateside to interview some of the people involved in Gen 6, right? Because a lot of the foreign press was already into what was going on. So people over here in America was slow to catch on, but once we caught on with the help of Black media, everything is history, right? But Marcus Jones was character assassinated. I interviewed him a couple times. I'm gonna have to make these interviews available on this platform while I still can. I interviewed him a lot because I was doing freelance work for the Tri-State Defender. I wrote articles about the Gen 6 for the Tri-State Defender, the Memphis Tri-State Defender. So I was in touch with Marcus Jones on a regular basis for a couple of years. I actually helped bring him to Washington University, my alma mater, to speak the Deltas, and I helped my sister and the Deltas bring them to Washington University. Him and Tony Brown, Marcus Jones and Tony Brown, to speak about the Gen 6 case. It was very hot, man. It was a very hot, trending topic back then. And they said Dennis Kucinich, who was running for president. Dennis Kucinich, see what I'm saying? Politics ain't about substance. It's about bullshit and Hollywood. It's about image and popularity. Because Dennis Kucinich, he ran for president a couple of times, but they disrespected him, man, because he was from Lord of the Rings. He got him a hot wife or hot redhead, but when they did the debates, they never will focus on him doing the debates. They always will shift the camera away from him. Because he wasn't no JFK looking dude. He supposed to be on Star Wars or something like that, or Star Trek. But anyway, he was a good guy in terms of his ideas, and I think he was sincere. And he was a real public servant versus being a politician. But they won't let him speak. They didn't want to politicize what was already politicized. So I emceed the event for the Deltas at WashU. And unfortunately, I lost touch with Marcus, and come to find out, I found out after Dick Gregory passed that he was dead. They actually died in December 2014. He was actually helped collecting, I think, firewood for a big cookout he was doing for the homeless people in Gina. Like, he just came back from New Orleans. He just celebrated his son, Michael Bell, graduating from Southern University with honors. But they had a situation with him and his son had a little bit of, a misunderstanding. Kind of like, I ain't gonna say like a Kirk Franklin and his son thing, but they had a misunderstanding. I don't know if they ever made up before he died, but he was collecting firewood for the cookout to serve the homeless people near Gina. And he was on the back of his friend's truck holding down the wood. I think it was firewood. And somehow he fell off the truck on the expressway or the highway and got ran over by a car. So, because his friend said when he got to his destination, he saw that he was no longer in the truck. So he went back on the highway and found that he was ran over by somebody, ran over by a young lady, and maybe some more cars. He got ran over. So he died. And so he was a young guy. He was in the early, maybe 43. This back in December 2014. And I didn't find out he was dead until Dick Gregory died. And I started looking for him. I said, damn, he dead? I didn't know he was dead for almost 3 years. So, I mean, life is interesting, but he was the one that encouraged me to connect with Dick Gregory. But I say all this to say is that he was villainized by the media because he was too much of an advocate for Black people. And he was a hetero alpha male. And he was disappointed in the lawyer's decision to not pursue this case all the way up to the highest court in the land. He said, this is going to help Black people all over for generations. He was looking at not just helping my son, but this is going to help Black people for generations. Because he even was trying to work with, I think, Charles Ogletree, the Harvard law professor. I think he got Alzheimer's now, whatever, Barack Obama's mentor or Jegna, whatever. He wanted to work on this case. And he had his student. I mean, a lot of law schools was interested in doing something that was unprecedented. Like, they were going back to them Thurgood Marshall NAACP Legal Defense Fund days, what they wanted to do. But the lawyers and other people had different ideas. Then they talking about who was collecting all the money and what the money getting to the kids and to their legal team. I remember I interviewed James Rucker, the co-founder of Color for Change, and they say he was stealing money allegedly. I mean, it just was weird, but this all before Facebook became Facebook. MySpace supposed to be what Facebook is today, right? MySpace was the thing, and Facebook was just really beginning to become that thing. But this was like the early days of social media. So, it was like he said, she said, where's the money? Michael Basin, they're trying to blame who's getting the money. It just was crazy. But I bet a lot of y'all don't even recall Gen 6. I bet a lot of y'all don't even recall that. Y'all, on to the next. People forget about these people. Marcus Jones, he was fighting for Black people. And the powers that be said, the hell with that nigga. We're going to destroy his name and credibility. And we're going to use Black women to do it. And I'm not blaming all the sisters, but they use Black women to destroy that man. Read the comments. But yeah, I'm not going, but the beg does not equate to justice. Like you look at both them Johns people, right? Both them John, or whatever his name is, how they hug the Amber Geiger lady, and how the judge hugged her, and how the judge was getting on Joshua Brown, and Joshua Brown get killed over some BS, and people believe that story like he got killed doing a drug deal gone bad. He got killed for speaking truth to power. He got killed for speaking truth to power, right? They killed Joshua Brown, and it was a black man. You know, he had a daughter. Where's the beg for the family of Joshua Brown for standing up for what's right, for doing the profiles of courage? I mean, I understand getting the beg to Breonna and George. They can't even enjoy it. You gave it to their family. You know what I'm saying? You didn't give it to them. But what about the activists and the people that risk everything to do what is right as a so-called Christian, and they get effed over and people forget about their families? What about Joshua Brown people? He had a little kid. He had a daughter, I think. What about his people? Where's the follow-up? Lee Merritt? Damn, you down there, ain't it? Why y'all ain't caring about this brother? And he got the nerve to hug the woman that started all this shit. His brother got the nerve to hug this woman. The judge hugged this woman. The judge was chastising Joshua Brown, right? Questioning his credibility and bullshit. It's a black woman doing this to a black man who's trying to do the right thing. Let me check, DD Chosen. I got Ladarius. Thank you for the donation. Let me see what else. I appreciate y'all for coming through. It's so much stuff, man. I'm like I'm getting off track. I'm not really getting off track, but it's just trying to bring it back. Okay, thank you, D-Cho. I appreciate it. We love you madly. Yeah, Leimert Park. That's a powerful black power place, man. I'm surprised they haven't gentrified Leimert Park yet. Leimert Park is so powerful out in LA. Next time I go out to LA, I'm gonna have to spend some time out there before they take it away from us. Yeah, he had that cancer thing, right? Well, everybody got a price. Think about a lot of people around Farrakhan, a lot of strong black men like Malcolm. He was trained by Malcolm X. Look what happened to Malcolm. Then he had Khalid Muhammad. Look what happened to Khalid Muhammad. Then he had another brother from Holly Springs named Alfred Skip Robinson. And I interviewed Alfred's grandson on here. Bring some other things, but Alfred was a powerful brother, man. He was getting the shootouts with the Klan down in Mississippi back in the 70s and 80s and stuff. Man, is a legend. He's a folk hero. He's a freedom fighter. We don't talk about him, but Farrakhan did his eulogy down in Holly Springs at Rush College. They say there's some footage of that somewhere. And Farrakhan's a religious leader. He's not a general. And like he's kind of like, you think about Elijah Muhammad, that situation with Malcolm wanting to go to war, the LAPD, over how they killed Ronald Stokes and violated the temple out in Los Angeles. And then Elijah said, "No, Brother Malcolm, no, Brother Allah will take care of our enemies, Brother Malcolm. No. No war with the LAPD, Brother Malcolm." Obviously, Malcolm found out that he was allegedly getting them big checks from H.L. Hunt. Dick Gregory talk about how, Dick Gregory was close to Elijah. And y'all thought Dick Gregory had a thing with Farrakhan, but Farrakhan did his eulogy. But Dick talked about how Elijah showed him this big check he got from the government. I'm not saying this to disparage the name of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, but he was a human being, and you in their system. Y'all like that we pay taxes to a system that allowed to drop bombs on people during their weddings. You pay taxes for a government that drone kill people during their wedding. They drone kill American citizens without any type of due process in another country for making a website that chastises, whatever, that is critical of government policy. And these things happen under the Obama administration, the so-called Drone Ranger, right? Not the Lone Ranger, but the Drone Ranger. Yeah, I heard they have a fence around Leimert Park. But I think when I went to LA, I probably could. I don't know when they did that fence. I could probably went there back in 2017, and the fence wasn't there probably. But I don't know. But they're trying to take it away, man. But yeah, I'm gonna have to talk about the Black Lives Matter thing deeply another time. Because I'm short on time now, right? I'm getting almost 3 hours now. I think I'm yeah, watch whatever. I get tongue tied with this. Oh my God, this so-called King's English. But y'all need to look back into the Agenda 6. And like I said, may the righteous ancestor be pleased, Marcus Jones. I talked to his mom, interviewed his mom a couple years back, and she was still heartbroken about her son because she had to identify his body. And it's something I think she had him late. You know, that was the youngest of her children, and he was the last of her children. But Marcus was her favorite. And I got the interview available on the WeRB TV channel. But she really missed Marcus, man. She really loved that son of hers, because he really looked out for the people and he loved his mama. But I hope she's doing fine. I don't know if she's still around, but she said, "Ron, if you ever come down this way, come visit me." So I'm gonna check in to see how she's doing, if she's still around, because all this crap that's been happening from 2020, we losing a lot of people. So it's Gen 6. It's JEN, it's A6. There's only one N. It's JENA 6. You can spell out the 6, or it could be the number 6. And it's not a movie. They made documentaries about it, but it was a movement. See, I mean, we just got it happened right after Katrina. Like this happened this about 2006 and 2007 when the Gen 6 thing was going on at its height. Katrina happened in 2005, and people talking about they had Katrina fatigue. People talking about they had Katrina fatigue. Like they were tired. This is like before we had social media and stuff. People say, man, so we let the media define that. Like that black folks within less than 24 hours, we were eating Popeyes. Then we became cannibals. They said, well, they eating each other. You know how the news was saying this shit. Well, they're eating each other down there. I said, we just eating Popeyes. Excuse me. We eating Popeyes and shrimp and scrimp just less than 24 hours. How are we going to be cannibalizing people? But what really came out, though, was that we had white folks going coon hunting. Nobody ever talks about that. All these black folks that went missing, never been accounted for. The only person that really stuck their neck out and got criticized for it was the Honorable Cynthia McKinney, whose birthday was March the 17th. Happy belated birthday to the Honorable Cynthia McKinney. Well, not a real black leader, but we don't honor our great ones. But she put her neck out there like she did about 9/11. She's called, say, look, they killing black folks down there for sport. And people thought she was crazy. Then guess what happened? The Danziger Bridge, the Danziger Bridge thing, where you saw these cops killing these black folks on the bridge who were armless. I mean, not armed, like they didn't have any guns, from my understanding. They was in a vulnerable spot. You had these police officers killing these black folks in cold blood. Then you had the situation where the black folks murdered this black motorist and burnt his body up. So you don't know how many things happened to black folks during Katrina. You had Gretna Parish, where the black folks were trying to cross over into Gretna Parish. I think it was Gretna Parish. Y'all correct me in the chat. I don't have time to look this up. And they turned those black folks around at gunpoint. These black folks were suffering. They'll come out flooded New Orleans. Had no clean water, no food. And these white folks said, you niggas got to turn back around. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. Okay, we turning around. Shit. And it happened. So you know how many black folks actually got killed. And then it was weird. You had folks that never left New Orleans in the Ninth Ward, whatever. They sending them out to Utah. Why are you sending black folks all the way out to Utah? They've never been outside New Orleans. Another form of gentrification. Gentrification is genocide in a lot of ways. So look at New Orleans now. They got all the black folks out of New Orleans. New Orleans ain't the same. I thank God I was able to go to New Orleans before Katrina happened. New Orleans was a murder capital. You had, I don't know if y'all remember, okay, they talking about this the Asian violence, the anti-Asian violence. That was a black woman in New Orleans. She was a police officer, right? I think she moonlighted as a security guard at this Vietnamese restaurant. I don't know if she moonlighted, but what happened was She had a boyfriend that used to drive around her patrol car, posing as a police officer. He had a uniform on. And somehow they murdered a whole bunch of people at this restaurant, including the security guy who was a police officer, I believe. And she's on death row in Louisiana. See if I can find her name right quick. I think it's fat. I've been knowing about this story for a while, but the people from Louisiana might know about this story, right? But she murdered a whole bunch of people at this Vietnamese restaurant, and they said she killed her daddy too and buried him underneath her home because they found some skeletal remains underneath her home. Her daddy went missing. Let me find her. I can find her name. I love this like computer because you can just type in stuff. Her name was Antoinette Frank. And she was born April 30th, 1971. Antoinette Frank. That's her name. Let me see. We can go back there. You know, people say, well, Brother Ron, you helping them, you helping the enemy. Oh, maybe I am. But let's talk about Antoinette Frank right quick, right? She killed all them people at that Vietnamese restaurant. And I always wanted to write to her. I might write to her now. I don't know. Shit. Life is weird, man. See, I wasn't even supposed to talk about this. But Antoinette Frank. That's you people from New Orleans, y'all know about who I'm talking about? That's the sister right there. All them folks she killed at that restaurant. And let's read a little bit about her. I can see that's her. Read something about her right quick. Yeah, man, it's crazy out here. Thank y'all for riding with me. Name is Antoinette Frank. Might end up writing her after this. Antoinette Renee Frank, born April 30th, 1971, is a former New Orleans police officer who on March 4th, 1995, committed a violent armed robbery at a restaurant which resulted in the killing of two members of the family who ran the establishment and fellow New Orleans Police Department officer Ronald Williams II. She was aided by an accomplice, a drug dealer, and probable lover, Rogers Lucchese. Frank is the only woman on death row in Louisiana at the Louisiana Correctional Institute for Women in St. Gabriel, Louisiana. Okay. Boy, let me see some stuff. Crazy, man. So she's the only woman on death row now in Louisiana right now. See. Antoinette Frank applied to the New Orleans Police Department in early 1993. According to author Chuck Hushmeyer, a former federal agent and author of the book Killer with a Badge, Frank was caught lying on several sections of her employment application and failed two standard psychiatric evaluations. Now, she's a police now. She approved to be a police. She failed psychiatric evaluations, excuse me. Psychiatrist Philip Scurrier examined her and advised in no uncertain terms that she should not be hired, saying she was shallow and superficial. So you got the psychiatrist telling the New Orleans PD not to hire this woman. She failed two psych examinations, and they hired her. Wow. Okay, this is the reason. Despite this, Frank got a second chance to apply. The NOPD was chronically shorthanded at the time. Its officers were paid less than in similarly sized cities, and it was losing officers faster than they could be replaced. Its ranks have been decimated by several arrests for murder and drug activity. This is the New Orleans police before Katrina. Many potential applicants were shut out due to a requirement that all officers be residents of New Orleans, a requirement that was only changed in 2014. Okay. Additionally, Frank was a black female, and police officials thought having more African Americans on the force would ease long-standing racial tensions in the majority black city. Frank was hired on February 7, 1993, and graduated from the police academy on February 28th. Look how short that is. She was hired on February 7th, 1993, and graduated from the police academy on February 28th. Damn. Less than a month, in the shortest month of the year, in less than a month. Wow. That's black history that you don't want to make, y'all. Although Frank graduated near the top of her academy class, her tenure with the NOPD was mostly undistinguished. Her fellow officers thought she was rather shy, had no idea what police work really entailed, and lacked the decisiveness to be a good officer. At times, they thought she veered into irrational behavior. As early as August 1993, Frank's superiors wanted to send her back to the academy for further training. She frequently had to go through supervisory review. On occasion, though, she did distinguish herself, winning Officer of the Month awards from the local Kiwanis Club for her work in the community. Now, me and my girlfriend are going to talk about this dude, Roger Lucchese. Okay, on November 25th, 1994, Frank handled an incident in which Rogers Lucchese, a known drug dealer, had been shot. An investigator with the Department of Public Safety and Corrections believed that this was the first contact between the two, although in her statement, she claims that they met some 8 months before the murders. Frank had taken a statement from Lucchese after he was shot on the street and initially got closer to him in hopes of turning his life around. However, she was smitten by Lucchese's bad boy persona, and their relationship soon turned sexual. She kept up her relationship even though she was well aware she was jeopardizing her career. The association between Frank and Lucchese became noticeable after other police officers witnessed Lucchese driving her car and even observed him moving her police unit at the scene of an accident she was investigating. On one occasion, Lucchese accompanied her on a complaint call where she introduced him as a trainee. On other occasions, she introduced Lucchese as her nephew. Prior to the murders, others testified that Frank and Lucchese would pull over and rob motorists while in a squad car. Oh my God, this is like better than Training Day. Frank refused to discuss her relationship with Lucchese during the DOC investigation, except to say that she was trying to help him. It was later revealed that the two had a sexual relationship. When asked why she would continue the relationship, knowing that Lucchese had been involved in dealing drugs and in a shooting, she responded that she would not disassociate herself from him just because of his past. The investigator also questioned Frank about trying to buy a 9mm ammunition for Lucchese at Walmart on the day before the Kim An murders, but stated that she was a police officer and that there was nothing wrong with her buying ammunition. In her statement, she claimed that she and Lucchese were not dating and had never been intimate. Frank refused to discuss anything regarding the murders. Every time the investigator asked for her a question, she told him to look it up in the record or asserted her innocence. However, during her interview with the DOC investigator, Frank did claim to have a male suitor, but refused to go into specifics because he worked for the police department. Interesting. Two men claimed they met Lucchese at a party on February 4th, 1995. John Stevens and Anthony Wallace testified in court as the two were leaving the party. A verbal altercation between Stevens and Lucchese ensued, but Wallace suggested that they leave. The two men got in the car and drove several blocks until a police vehicle pulled the car over. Frank, in police uniform, exited the squad car and told both Wallace and Stevens to get out and go to the back of the car. At that point, Wallace saw Lucchese and noticed that he was holding a gun. According to Stevens, Wallace then rushed Lucchese and the two men began fighting. Then both Stevens and Frank also jumped in the fray and the weapon discharged. Stevens began running, but another man appeared and grabbed both Lucchese and Wallace. Frank then told the man that Lucchese was the good guy and that Wallace was the one causing the problems. Wallace was restrained until a backup unit arrived on the scene when he was subsequently arrested and charged with attempted murder and armed robbery. Wow. Irvin Bryan, a civil sheriff in 1995, testified that on the evening of February 4th, he observed a stopped police vehicle with its lights flashing. Bryan thought that the officer was making a traffic stop, but as he got closer, he saw the officer and two black men fighting on the side of the road. At that time, Wallace broke away, ran, and picked up a Tech-9 semi-automatic weapon off the grass. Bryan ordered Wallace to drop the gun, which he did immediately and was restrained. Lucchese then lunged towards Wallace, but Bryan grabbed him. Frank informed him that Lucchese was with her and ordered him released. Despite his involvement in the altercation, Bryan was never questioned by police, and he never gave a formal statement. This is so weird. Okay, strange. Oh man. Let's talk about what happened at the Vietnamese restaurant. We always talk about this, but it's about anti-Asian racism by black people. Okay. Was this about racism? Was it about opportunity? Was it about just being a stone cold killer and a robber? Or was it about something that was racially motivated? Let's read it. Let me look at this summation. After midnight, and I'm gonna wrap it up. I'm gonna do the Coming to America, but I didn't think I was gonna get into some Antoinette Frank stuff tonight. I've been knowing about this case for years, but I never really talked about it. I thought it was a fascinating case. But after midnight on March 4th, 1995, Frank and Lucchese visited Kim Un, a Vietnamese restaurant run by the Vu family in New Orleans East. Frank had sometimes worked there off duty as a security guard. As the employees cleaned the closed restaurant, Cha Vu went into the kitchen to count money and entered the dining room of the restaurant to pay Ronald A. Williams II. Williams was a colleague of Frank who had been working as a security guard that night to supplement his policeman's salary. He joined the New Orleans Police Department in 92 and was a married father of two. When Child went to pay Williams, Child noticed Frank approaching the restaurant. Frank and Lucchese had been to the restaurant twice earlier in the night to get leftover food to eat. When Child had let her out on the last visit, she could not find the front door key, and with Frank returning again for a third time, she sensed something was wrong. Child ran to the kitchen to hide the money in the microwave. Frank entered the front door using the key that she had stolen from the restaurant earlier and walked quickly past Williams, pushing Child's brother Quack, and a restaurant employee into the doorway of the restaurant's kitchen. Williams started to follow in hopes of finding out what was going on when shots rang out. Lucchese had slipped behind Williams and shot him in the neck, severing his spinal cord and instantly paralyzing him. As Williams fell, Lucchese continued to shoot him in the head and back, mortally wounding him. As Frank turned back to the dining room of the restaurant, Child grabbed Quack to hide somewhere. Child, Quack, and the employee hid in the rear of a large walk-in cooler in the kitchen, turning out its light as they entered. They did not know the whereabouts of their other sister and brother Ha and Quang Vu, who had been sweeping the dining room floors when Frank entered the restaurant. From inside the cooler, Child and Quack could partially see the kitchen and the front of the restaurant. Child initially could see Frank looking for something in the kitchen. As Frank moved out of Child's line of vision, additional gunshots were fired, but then observed Frank searching where the Vus usually kept their money. Frank and Lucchese had been shouting at Ha and Kwang, demanding the restaurant's money, but they did not know what Child had hinted at. Frank pistol whipped 17-year-old Kwang when he hesitated in revealing the location of the money. Frank got the money out of the microwave, then shot 21-year-old Ha 3 times as she knelt pleading for her life. Then she shot Kwang 6 times. After Frank and Lucchese left the premises, Child tried frantically to call 911 on her cell phone, but the cooler prevented her from getting a usable signal. Quack emerged from the cooler and ran out the back door of the restaurant to a nearby friend's home to call 911 to report the murders. The robbers fled the restaurant, and Frank dropped off Lucchese at a nearby apartment complex, both knowing that there were witnesses left behind. Frank heard the 911 call on her portable police radio, saying that the officer was down at the Kim Un restaurant. She borrowed a patrol car and returned to the scene. Posing as a responding officer, she intended to kill Child and Quack in order to ensure that there will be no witnesses. Parking in the rear, Frank entered through the back door of the restaurant and made her way through the kitchen to the dining room where Child waited for help at the front door. As Child bolted through the restaurant's front door to the safety of arriving officers, Frank immediately identified herself as a police officer. Child told Frank that she knew what she had done and cried to the officers that Frank had committed the crimes. Eddie Ranch, the homicide detective who worked the case, believed Frank and Lucchese planned the robbery to get revenge on Williams. Frank believed Williams was shortchanging her on hours and pay at the Kim on and wanted revenge. So it's a blue on blue crime, right? This ain't black on black or black on yellow or black on red. This is blue on blue crime. This is cop on cop crime. Ranch subsequently described Frank as the most cold-hearted person he ever encountered in 3 decades as an officer. Wow. She went from being shy to the most cold-hearted person. Child and Frank was questioned in detail while seated at different tables in the restaurant. Frank was arrested and charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder. Lucchese was arrested and charged later that night. Frank was taken to the headquarters for additional questioning, where she later confessed to the crimes along with Lucchese. She was believed to be the first New Orleans police officer to be in charge with killing a fellow officer. Oh my God. Frank and Lucchese were indicted by an Orleans Parish grand jury on April 28, 1995. That's 2 days before her birthday. Their trials were severed, and Lucchese was tried first on July 17th through the 21st, 1995, before Judge Frank Marolo. He was found guilty as charged and sentenced to death. His main tip-off had been Williams's Chevron credit card at the Chevron station in Gretna just minutes after the robbery and murders. Frank's trial began on September 5th, 1995, also before Marolo. Although Frank's attorneys had subpoenaed 39 witnesses, they didn't call a single one. On September 12, 1995, the jury needed only 22 minutes to return a guilty verdict on all counts, at the time a racket for a capital murder case in New Orleans. The next day, they needed only 45 minutes to recommend the death penalty. She was formally sentenced to death on October 20th, 1995, and sent to death row at Louisiana Correctional Institute for Women in St. Gabriel near Baton Rouge. Okay, so I'm not going to read all this stuff to y'all. Stuff is sad. Oh my God. I've been knowing about this case for a long time. I was thinking about reaching out to her at one point. I don't know about all that. But this is really crazy. Stuff is really crazy, man. It's an insane world. But so I don't think that was about this is about a crime. Crime, a lot of times crime is about opportunity and convenience. I don't think she targeted them just because they was Asian American or Vietnamese American. She targeted them because she knew who they were. Most crimes are committed by people. You know, when people commit a crime, a lot of times they do know the person that perpetrate the crime against them. A lot of times crime is a personal thing, you know, like what Dick said, you kill where you live, you rob where you live. It's not just all about saying it's black on black crime or black on yellow crime, or, you know, it's just about convenience. And she worked for those people. And so she knew their habits, unfortunately. This is Antoinette Frank. That's the restaurant Kim on. That's the officer Ronald Williams who was killed. Okay. Stuff is crazy. But they claim that I heard that they said her father went missing. They claim that she did it. Sad. Everybody lose. So anyway, interesting. But yeah. You know, it's interesting about New Orleans. You know, people don't understand New Orleans was where The oldest Italian mafia family is not in New York, it's in New Orleans. The oldest Italian mafia family in the nation is in New Orleans. They had a situation back in I want to say the 1890s where they killed the I think police chief Hennessy. I think he was a police chief. I don't know if he was sheriff or police chief Hennessy. It's back in the early 1890s, I believe. And they said his last words were, the Dagos got me, or the Dagos shot me. You know, Dagos, derogatory word for what? Italians. So they had one of the biggest mass lynchings in American history. They lynched all these Italians right down New Orleans. And the thing about it is, though, unlike a lot of black folks being lynched in America, I believe that the government, our government, had to pay restitution and reparations to the government of Italy. So that's what happens when you actually have a sovereign entity that's behind you, that's connected to you. It forces other sovereign entities to answer for their crimes against their citizens. See, black people, we never had any institute or entity that could advocate for the grievances that we receive from the elements in this country. It is what it is, but that case is crazy. No, she's still alive. I don't think that, you know, that's interesting, because they're like, man, that was 1995, right? And we in 2021. That's like 26 years ago. And it happened, and the crime happened this March the 4th, right? It happened March the 4th, 1995. Well, I gotta agree with you. There's a lot of crazy folks hiding behind the badge. Yeah, I think they were an easy hit because she knew these people well. She worked for them. She moonlighted as a security officer. I don't think it's about racism. You know, people say, "Oh, she was racist against Vietnamese." No, I think it's about, it was just a crime, and she knew who. Because a lot of times, you know, people, crimes are committed against you by people that you know or know of. You know. You probably could find it. I mean, she's in the system, so they probably. But I thought about a couple years ago reaching out to her, and yeah, crime of proximity. Thank you, because you go, oh, this is proof of black folks hate Asians, and I don't think it was like that, because they said she killed her father. Don't she hate black fathers too? There, I don't know. She was counting their money. Yeah, she knew where they normally keep it at. Yeah, she actually did work. She had a problem with the other police officer saying that she'll get cheated out of her money by him. She had a problem with the other officer that was moonlighting at that time when she went down to rob them. Kind of like you think about Derek Chauvin knew George Floyd, right? They were working as bouncers at this club. So they knew it. They had an issue with money and all type of amount. Derek had a beef with George. And you could look at that video and tell you, when I saw that video the first, I said, this stuff is personal. He must have screwed his wife or something, the way he looking in that camera, like he got no soul. Yeah, she worked at the restaurant. That's why she knew. It's funny how she went from being really shy, but think about it. She got less than 1 month training to become a police officer. And then she failed her psychiatric exams twice. And they still made her a police officer. That's affirmative action gone wrong. That's affirmative action gone wrong. They were told not to make this woman a police officer. She failed her psych exam twice. And she only training she got to be a police officer was in the shortest month of the year, and not even a full month. That's crazy. Think about how long it takes you to become a doctor or a lawyer or something like that. It takes you years of studying and getting trained. And like the fact that people could become police. I mean, this is before, I guess, 9/11, Katrina, all this stuff. But think about, New Orleans was known as the murder capital of the country. About it. You know what I'm saying? And, even Katrina, I remember seeing a documentary, I think American Justice on A&E, on Sony shows, and they talking about how, in New Orleans before Katrina happened, if you get arrested for the suspicion of murder, like, people say, oh, Slim Charles killed Rowdy Boy. Okay, the police arrest you, but they don't got no witnesses, or they assume that you killed this person, right? After 30 days, they would let you go. If nobody came forward to say, I saw this person kill Roddy Boy, I saw Slim Charles kill Roddy Boy, you walk free after 30 days of being in jail. Now, these cats try to do that shit in Houston. A police officer, one of these guys was accused of killing somebody. He said, man, it's been 30 days. Y'all gotta let me go. He said, man, this ain't New Orleans. This ain't Louisiana. This Texas. We ain't gonna let y'all do that. So, I mean, to me, I think it's interesting. It says the first time a cop killed another cop, right? They said what she did. I don't think that's the first time. Because you got to think about how corrupt New Orleans was. Or a lot of cities, like, I ain't gonna say it, but think about big city stuff. Think about the movie Serpico. That's based on a real person. Serpico, Al Pacino played Serpico. He was trying to be an honest cop, and all these crooked cops wanted him gone. They set him up on a raid. He almost got his face blown off. That's an actual movie done by Al Pacino, but it's based on a real person named Frank Serpico. I think he's still alive. He was still alive not too long ago. So exposed corruption, that blue shield and all that stuff, the blue line, whatever they call it. Okay, it's just like a Lifetime movie waiting to happen. You said first heard of on Deadly Women. He probably was. I mean, he was a white man. You know what I'm saying? Men. It's this thing, gender equality and stuff like that. But it's interesting. Also, I guess I'll touch on Coming to America. I said I'm gonna touch on time. I already knew not to expect too much out of Coming to America because I saw the PG-13 rating. I knew that okay, I'm not going to expect it to be like the original. The original was R-rated and it was made in 1988. To me, Coming to America was a time capsule for the 80s, like the culture of the 80s. Like you look at the stand-up that Eddie Murphy did. He did a lot of classic comedy movies, Trading Places, all that stuff in the 80s, right? But you look at the stand-up that Eddie was doing, he couldn't do that today. Matter of fact, he had to apologize for the stand-up he did back then. I mean, it was a different time. If you think about, okay, people talking about the Cardi B and Meg Thee Stallion performance at the Grammys, right? The WAP. I didn't look at the Grammys. I didn't care. But how you gonna talk about them and not talk about Millie Jackson? Millie Jackson was doing that stuff back in the 80s. There's a clip going around the internet right now. Millie Jackson at one of her concerts back in 1988, going around grabbing on black men crouches in the audience. She was grabbing on their dicks. I mean, grabbing. She wasn't like pretending like she was grabbing. She was holding on people's dicks. And nobody, baby, oh, little child, ooh. Said, this young man got a little one right here. And they said, oh, yeah, this boy got a big one. It's Millie Jackson. She couldn't do that today, can she? Could she do this today? Maybe on OnlyFans. But could she do that like at a Grammy show, like grabbing people's dicks? I mean, it was a different time. So the comedy different. And it's interesting because this is the funniest I ever seen Leslie Jones be. And the only reason because it worked in her favor, because everybody else had to water down their way of doing stuff. Tracy Morgan had to water his stuff down. Eddie had to water his stuff down. So she was really able to shine because Leslie Jones ain't really funny to me. And she's from Memphis. She's a Memphian. I mean, she was born in Memphis, but George Hamilton was born in Memphis. But Leslie Jones never really been funny to me. But in this movie, like she was like the comedic highlight. She really thrived in this PG-13 setting, I wish they would have had Daryl Patrice come back, but I believe that Eric LaSalle had some issues. He was doing filming and directing the TV show. And I think the woman that played Patrice, she didn't want to come back. She had a bad experience with Eddie. And I think with the lead, that was her sister. But to me, it could have benefited from a Daryl Patrice appearance. They could have done another Soul Glow commercial, could have updated it to braids or whatever, weave. I don't know what they would have did for Soul Glow because Soul Glow had to grow with the times, right? So it'd been interesting to see a Soul Glow commercial. Now they had John Legend do his Queen to Be version doing the credits, and I could really deal without that. I mean, I liked some of John Legend's earlier stuff. Some of his earlier stuff was great, it was brilliant, classic. When he started talking his politics and the other crap about Bill Cosby, I was like, man, it kind of turned me off. Even his wife, the way they be acting, but he's still a talented person. He's like Lionel Richie 2.0, so to speak. But it's some things. I think that what a comedian called DC Youngfly, he would have been great as Eddie's son, Akeem's son. If they had DC Youngfly, but like I said, if it was rated R, they could have had DC Youngfly in that thing. Yeah, I like the costume man with Ruth Carter, great stuff. But the storyline could have been a little bit stronger. But it wasn't a bad movie if you didn't expect it to be like the original. See, like to me, the sequel is a time capsule for what's going on now with the woke culture, the cancel culture, black girl magic. You know, black men, we don't know nothing. It's all about the black women. So to me, the movie's a time capsule for today, just like how the original was a time capsule for the 80s. That's how I look at it. You know, these movies, man, I don't expect too much out of any of these movies. Normally, sequels are not better as the original, especially they take years to make. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, you look at Godfather trilogy. I actually like all three of the Godfathers. And people would think that the weakest one was Godfather 3. I don't think Godfather 3 was that weak to me. I really enjoyed it. But, you know, people can make the case that Godfather 2 was actually better than 1. You can make a strong, and that's rare. But you got to look at, you know, what made it so good. You still had the guy behind the vision still there. You had some of the key players still there. You had, you know, Francis Ford Coppola. He was there. And third one, people said, well, his daughter sabotaged that one. But, you know, he had a couple of people that were slated to play Al Pacino's daughter in Godfather 3, like Winona Ryder. Now, that would have been interesting to see if Winona Ryder, what she would have pulled out, because she was actually, you know, she's an actress. She's actually was, you know, trained, you know, all that stuff. She had the experience versus Sofia Coppola. But to me, it didn't bother me. I like Godfather 3. I like it. It was kind of goofy some way, like the helicopter scene, shooting everybody up with the helicopter. It's kind of like, okay, that's some cartoony shit. But, you know, I really enjoy Andy Garcia and Al Pacino playing off each other. I like, what's the guy who played, y'all know what I'm talking about. The guy who played the rival. He's kind of like the John Gotti dude. Social, whatever his name was. The actor that plays him. Let me think about it. Let me look it up. Let me see. Y'all got me, because y'all trying to catch me. I knew Brother Ron was lying. I said, I just forgot. I'm getting older now. You know what I'm saying? I love these smartphones. I like Andy Garcia. Who else? Joe Mantegna. Joey Zaza. I like Joe Mantegna. I like him. He played Joey Zaza. Yeah, Joey Zaza. You know, got shot at the parade. He reminded me of John Gotti or like Crazy Joe Gallo. He worked with the brothers and stuff. But it was interesting. But with Coming to America, the sequel, I get a shout out to Craig Brewer. Craig Brewer, the Memphian who did Hustle and Flow, who did Black Snake Moan, who did the Dolomite movie with Eddie, and they come to. I give him props, man. I give him props. He's a white boy, but you know I gotta give him his propers, because Hustle and Flow is a classic. Black Snake Moan was good, and I enjoyed Dolomite. And if Coming to America is the weakest link in his resume, that's not bad to have, because to me, who's been the biggest disappointment for me would be Casey Lemons, man. Cassie or Casey. You know what I'm talking about? Casey, Eve's Bayou. I love Eve's Bayou. That's a classic. But what she did with the Harriet Tubman movie, and the Madam C.J. Walker, I have yet to see that. I have yet to see the Madam C.J. Walker movie. But the fact that her descendant she didn't care for it. I mean, she was consulted on it, but Hollywood, just tell the truth about our people, man. There's no need to fabricate or embellish. Because you tell the truth about who we are, man, we're amazing people. So there's no need for all that BS that they do in Hollywood. But Casey just disappointed me with the Harriet movie and what I heard about the Madam C.J. Walker thing. I said, damn, you did Eve's Bayou, man. You did Eve's Bayou. I love Eve's Bayou. I saw it last week, man. I love that movie. That movie's a classic. But, you know, one of the best black movies ever made. Oh, man. But I think I tell people, don't have expectations for these movies, man. And Eddie Murphy's he be so hit and miss, man. Eddie Murphy is brilliant, but it's like sometimes, man, his choices though, like what the hell, Eddie? What the hell, man? But Eddie, he did some classics, man. But he has some movies. I'm like, what the hell? What the hell, man? But you gotta give it to Eddie. He ruled the 80s, man. Eddie ruled the 80s, but I just look at the storyline could have been stronger, in Coming to America, but it was not a horrible. I actually did have some laughs in the movie. I did some, I rewind on some things, and it was good for family. It was a family movie, good black girl magic empowerment movie, but it is not a classic. But I enjoy watching it. So I don't really have bad. And people talked about the scene where Eddie's son was conceived. Now, that I saw this on Nicole's View. Shout out to Nicole's View. Yeah, that was date rape. And it is Me Too land, but it's just like it's a double standard though. Because people believe that men can't be raped. Men be raped. Boys been raped. I told you that men been raped in the army. Boys are raped. Look at these teachers. Y'all think it's male teachers, these women teachers, man. If you look at these women, it's like, damn, they fine, they good looking, but their minds fucked up. You have Mary Kate Letourneau, whatever her name. I remember when I was a little kid, when she was sleeping with her student, she just passed away from cancer. I think he's still around, but I'm saying she messed that dude up because that's predatory. I mean, I guess she loved him, and she destroyed her life, and they had, I don't know how many kids they. I think they had 1 or 2, but people abuse their power, man. It's not just men that abuse their power; it's women. Because you got to think about even with the Me Too. Look at Charlie Rose. A lot of his women were protecting him. They allowed women that worked with him or for him allow these things to happen. They cover up for him. Then they call foul, and I guess depending on the weather. I mean, it's kind of weird. And looking at this stuff. Yeah, but yeah, Eddie, he apologized for what he did in the 80s. And why you apologize for stuff that happened 30 years ago? That would have been interesting to see the Trading Places sequel. Yeah, whoever controlled the money, they control everything, but she didn't have to do the movie though. If she knew it was bullshit, I mean, she put her son in the movie, So I just think that, I don't know, man, her choices I just want her to do better choices because she made such a classic movie. I mean, you made a debut. It's like with Nas, man, you did Illmatic or Lauryn Hill, Miseducation, and then she took some years off. I'm not saying she wanted. Maybe she felt like, hey, man, I've been not getting all this stuff that I want. I thought my career was going to take off, and maybe I can't say no right now because it's later in the game for her. She must have thought when she made Eve's Value that she'll get more opportunities to showcase her talents. So I guess, but I'm just saying, I just think that, I don't know. Yeah, there's a lot of female predators, but people get away because females are females smart as hell. Women are smart as hell, man. Very manipulative. Because you can't do like a man, like a woman. A man is stronger than a woman. I don't care what nobody say. They could play in women's sports. And now just make a transgender league. So women waking up now say, wait a minute, they're trying to replace us too. We just want to replace the black people. They trying to replace women too. You white women saying, white women say they're trying to replace us too. No shit, they're trying to replace everybody. But and speaking of that. Predictive programming. We talked about this a lot of times on this show. Check out Amazon Prime's series Utopia. I just watched that over the last. Wow. You talking about? And they got a disclaimer at the beginning saying this is not based on real events. Well, maybe they predicted the future, but Utopia. Now it got some over gratuitous violence. It was a couple times in the series. I can't look at this. This is too gross for me out. This is too much. Like, why you got to go there with that? Is that necessary to show all that gratuitous, gross violence? But if you can get past that and you start thinking about what's going on now, it's like, damn, they telling you everything they doing to us in real time. But check out Utopia on Amazon Prime. Now, people talk about the colorism issue in Coming to America. Like they talk about what Eddie, how you look at a lot of Eddie Murphy movies, the dark women are made buffoons, and people talk about Norbit, or people talk about even in this movie with Leslie Jones, he's loud, and how it makes black women looks very, very minstrelsy. And my thing, okay, look at Eddie Murphy's eldest daughter, right? His oldest daughter in the movie, she's dark skinned and she's got next, right? Before he found out about his son. So I mean, okay, you got Leslie Jones and you got Eddie Murphy's eldest daughter in the movie who's grown to become the queen of the kingdom, right? So I mean, but Eddie, Eddie liked them light girls, man. He liked them light skinned girls, man. Look at his wife, his first wife. I just like, it might be something to that, but I even heard they said he was gonna play General Izzy part, Eddie Murphy, because Eddie Murphy's like the black Peter Sellers. Y'all know who Peter Sellers was, right? The brilliant British comic, and he used to play all these roles like Eddie Murphy do. Peter Sellers, like he's like the black version of Peter Sellers, but Eddie Murphy is like, he's a legend, even though he had a lot of duds. I mean, but when he make a classic, and Eddie can actually act. But I haven't seen Mr. Church yet. I'm gonna have to check out Mr. Church. I don't want to check. I'm gonna go ahead and check it out. Magical Negro moment, Yeah, I heard about the strain and the feet. It's so much stuff out here. It's overwhelming. But like, but I really took to the to Utopia. It's like 8 shows, and it's interesting because like, damn, it's like they said this stuff is not based on reality, but it's predictive programming because that the government controls the media. About Operation Mockingbird. People talking about the Simpsons predict the future. But look at the background of the creators of the Simpsons. I bet they got some intelligence background. The creators of the Simpsons, right? They probably was approaching college and recruited. You even look at the guy who created the X-Files, right? He did a spinoff. I'm gonna keep on talking about this. Yeah, I think I covered everything that I said I'm gonna talk about, right? But it's a show called Lone Gunmen. That's a spinoff of the X-Files, right? And their first episode came out March of 2001. It's called The Palette. It's the first episode, right? And the whole thing, the plot of the first episode was some rogue government element hijacked the computer operation sensors of the commercial airliner, right? And it was programming their airline to fly into the World Trade Center. This came out March of 2001. What happened September 9th, 2001? So that's the Lone Gunmen. It's on YouTube. It's still out there, the Palette episode. So this happened all in the same year. And I know my uncle is a huge X-File fan. He said that the government approached the guy who created the X-Files. I think he got an intelligence background. I think he worked with the government too. They said, man, you making this stuff too close for comfort. You need to like to fantasize it a little bit more because you telling too much truth in this show. Like what the theme of the show, the truth is out there, right? So, you even got CIA people that read spy novels. Hell, you got CIA people that write spy novels. Like Howard E. Hunt, right? The guy who they said was one of the tramps in Dallas during the JFK assassination, whose wife was the bag man or bag woman who got killed on the Watergate plane crash with the first black news anchor woman, Michelle Clark, in Chicago. She was the bag woman taking money from the Nixon administration for the families who were impacted by the Watergate burglars, including her husband. He did a deathbed confession to his son about his involvement in the Kennedy assassination, but also he was a prolific spy novel writer. This is Howard E. Hunt or E. Howard Hunt. Let me see. Y'all Ron got it wrong. He lead us astray. Y'all be getting. Brother Ron be lying because he said one thing wrong, got a date off, and everything's invalidated. E. Howard Hunt. His name is E. Howard Hunt. A lot of Hunts involved in these assassination conspiracy, right? I talk about H.L. Hunt, right? That's the father of Lamar Hunt, the founder of the Kansas City Chiefs. So you got E. Howard Hunt. He did a confession, a deathbed confession to his son. His son taped it, whatever, and wrote a book about it. But this stuff is deep, man. Like, I think them Tom Clancy novels be fantasy. No, it's based on reality, man. It's like that, like John Grisham, when he wrote the movie The Firm. Like, he wrote the book The Firm that led to the movie. I remember when Tom Cruise and them was filming the movie in Memphis. Tell a lot of truth about Memphis and The Firm. I mean, Memphis is like a place where Judge Joe Brown said, you kill people in Memphis, do professional hits and call it accidents. Can you remember there was that scientist after September 11 happened? There was a scientist that disappeared. There was an expert, I believe, on anthrax or something, on biochemical warfare or something. They found him floating in the Mississippi River. This is like after September 11th. And I'm not saying, I'm just saying, I'm just putting it out there. You could probably find information on it. I believe they found this car parked near the river and they found him floating in the river. But he was an expert on anthrax or biochemical warfare or something like that. I think he was a Harvard professor. I'm just saying it off the top of my head because I don't got the details in front of me. But by me putting it out there, maybe I can find out what I'm talking about. I can post it in the comment section. I need to wrap it up. I ain't talking about no condom. I just need to wrap up this because I've been going on. And I just envy people that could say the stuff I've been saying for 3 hours within 12 minutes. I don't got the gift to be able to wrap it up like that and make it that concise. But I think I covered everything I said I was going to cover. Yeah. You can watch Coming to America. It's not bad. Not to me. But it's interesting. But anyway, thank y'all. Good. I don't trust none of this stuff, man. I ain't gonna talk about this on here because they'll take me out of here. Man, look, space is the place. People talking about some space, NASA. Look, listen to Sun Ra. Sun Ra say he was from Saturn. I believe him. Let's see. I'm trying to read what y'all got to say here. Yeah, Long Gunman was interesting. I haven't stopped the gatekeeper. Hell, just trying to keep the rent and my lights on, man. I'm telling you all this foolery you doing. Dude talking about space and it's all this stuff. Another thing too about us, not interested in working with everybody. I just want to work with some people. Find your tribe, create your tribe, do what you got to do. There's a lot of things happening right now. Interesting times to be alive in, and just take good care of yourself the best you can, because like I said, man, I'd be like, what the hell is going on with my life? I'm not where I want to be, but I'm doing what I can do where I'm at, and we'll see. But I hope y'all ain't learned something from me. And like I said, I got some shows I want to share with y'all. I'm gonna do a Georgia Guidestones show. And I know people talked about they reopened the Kendrick Johnson case. I actually interviewed the parents and the lawyer of Kendrick Johnson several years ago. And I applaud them for fighting to find out the truth. But, everybody with common sense know they were murdered. But it's like what Denzel said as Alonzo Harris in Training Day. It's not what you know, it's what you can prove. It's what you can prove. And evidently, it's just like, but I'm saying it's because Black people, man, we don't take ourselves seriously enough to hold anybody accountable. We don't. We all telling people you got to forgive. Why you forgiving? You don't even know why you forgiving these people. It's like a knee-jerk reaction. Why are you forgiving folks that didn't ask for your forgiveness? People tell me, I'm going to forgive these people. I said, no, man. If you want to hate these people, that's your right. You don't have to forgive. People tell me, you got to forgive, brother. No, you don't. Because that's why they don't understand. They say, what's wrong with Black people? All this shit we did to them, they talking about forgiveness. Because they know if it was them, if we were doing that stuff to them, they want revenge. It's like, when the Minister Farrakhan said justice or else, he should never said or else if he didn't mean it. Because that's like, it's going on 6 years later, or else what? Nothing. I'm not knocking the minister. What are you talking about? Men? But I'm saying, like, and furthermore, we as Black people don't need leaders. We need folks that hold themselves accountable. You go back to what Neely Fuller said about you being your own organization. You got to have your own bylaws. You as a person, you your own entity. You are your own sovereign entity. You got to create bylaws to maintain your understanding, your autonomy. And you should not want to deal with our people unless you got a plan and a plan of action. You should never, I don't want to be around anybody that's idle. They don't got nothing to do. I don't want to be around grown people. They say they bored. I don't know how the hell you could be grown and bored. I'm never bored. I'm never bored. I got imagination. I do a lot of research. I'm a creative person. I'm a force of nature. I'm never bored. I'm never bored. And I know, people say, well, I'm so lonely. And people saying, I'm so lonely and I just need a friend. No, you do. Well, you truth teller, you got no friends. The only friend you got is me, myself, and I. You better be a friend to yourself. Even your family, you get all upset. They don't listen to me. So what? So what? Do you listen to you? Why you worry about if they don't listen? I mean, at least you did your job. It's like if I told you, hey man, there's a stop sign at this corner. You may want to stop. Well, fuck you, Ron. And then they don't stop and they get killed and ran over. I don't feel guilty about that. I told you it was a stop sign. I told you might want to stop, fully stop and look around before you cross that intersection. That's not on me if you choose not to heed the warning. That's on you. See, when I'm doing what I'm doing and putting this stuff out there, I'm not trying to get people to co-sign what I'm saying or to agree with me. I'm not interested. My thing is like, this is very cathartic. This is therapy for me. I got this shit on my mind. It feels like it's a burden. Like the fact that I can recall anniversaries and shit and nobody else give a fuck. People don't really care about no anniversary. Well, this is the anniversary date. Did you know this happened? I do though for some reason. It's strange. I care about that type of stuff. So I try to share as much as I can. Sometimes I'll be late. I'll be a day off. People say, well, Ron, this anniversary happened yesterday. I said, yeah, because yesterday I'm saying, why in the hell can I recall this bullshit? It's not bullshit, but I think, why is it that I'm burdened with this shit? And motherfuckers out there TikToking their lives away and shit. TikTok, they whopping it up. They whopping it up and TikToking and shit. And they can make all this money and get all these views. And here I am, trying to be thoughtful and considerate and shit and trying to check the dates and get the names right. And motherfuckers come in the comment, man, Ron, you got the date wrong and you got the name off. And I'm not complaining, but it's like I got a right. I can express myself. And folks say shit that's disrespectful. I could say your mama like how I played last night. But I won't. I be saying it in my mind. So I ain't gonna even go that low. Because when they go low, I can go lower, but I choose to go high. Michelle Obama shout out. But it's so much shit I could talk about, man. And I've been on here for almost 3 hours and 30 minutes. And for some reason, y'all got nothing better else to do but to hear me talk about this stuff. But y'all should be taking notes. I talked about people y'all might never heard of. I made connections y'all may never get nowhere else. This is what we do. I know y'all like to listen to Judge Joe Brown and the Dick Gregory and Dr. Randy Short. Dr. Randy Short got a backup channel. Randy Lancaster Short. Let him, I got a lot of Dr. Short stuff out here. But what I'm saying is, this is your homework assignment. Start listening to yourself. Listen to yourself. Develop a relationship with yourself. A loving, kind, forgiving, patient relationship with yourself. Me, myself, and I. Get to know yourself well in these times. Because it's going to come a time where all you have is going to be yourself. Because they're going to be people you thought that rock with you, friends and family. They're going to show their true colors. And you just can't. Life ain't worth living feeling sorry for yourself most of the time. You got to find a way to pick yourself up, to motivate yourself and get out there. And people talking about Dr. King and they talking about his infidelity. You don't know what him and Coretta had set up. I mean, I'm just tired of people. I be here. I remember I go to conferences, right? And old black people come up to me. I ain't gonna call them elders because they just old fools. They tell me, well, Dr. King, they say he had a threesome before he died. I'm saying, I'm glad he got some pussy before they shot him in his goddamn face. Huh? I said, I'm glad he got some pussy before he pet some pussy, he ate it, he fucked. I don't care. I'm glad he got something before they shot him in his face. No, I don't care. You know, like, I don't care what, you know, like the things that only are scandals politically are sexual in nature. It's like y'all care more about sex than y'all do about results and about justice and liberation. I don't care who Dr. King was screwing back in 1958 or 68. I don't give a damn. But it's a lot of old fools who got kids and grandkids and great grands that care about bullshit like that. That's not going to do anything for anybody, especially your people. You know, like Meghan Markle was on Oprah, you know, talking about, my son is not protected. He's unprotected. How you think black folks feel about being unprotected? I want security too. I want to know that they gonna bust me my goddamn head for being just a black dude in some wrong part of town. You know, it's like, oh, woe is you. You know, Queen Elizabeth has been accused of killing her daughter-in-law for years. And she's 94 and she's gonna be living for a long time. She ain't gonna let that shit worry her. You know, Queen Elizabeth, like, oh, she can't even clean her own toilet. I bet she never cleaned a toilet before in her life. Queen Elizabeth is most pampered. When you that pampered, you could live for 100 years and plus some years. And really, I expect her to live over 100, well over 100, because to have all that wealth and resources, there's no reason why you can't make it to 200. You know, like, I look at Steve Jobs and Rush Limbaugh, people like this, y'all couldn't even make it to well, Rush made it to 70, right? But Steve Jobs didn't even make it to 60. I don't think. You know, what's the point of having all that? At least David Rockefeller knew that he'd get a couple more hearts. He got all them heart surgeries and stuff. David Rockefeller, he knew that hell is real. he knew hell is real. He knew where he was going. I mean, I don't know. But Dick Cheney don't even got a heart. I don't think Dick Cheney got an actual heart. It's artificial blood pumper thing. Hey, look, Henry Kissinger is still alive. He almost 100 years old. They got Fred Hampton at 21. They killed Malcolm at 39, but Henry Kissinger is still going strong. And I think he obese. So, you know, unless there's a clone. I think that's it for now. Yeah, Operation Paperclip. Yeah. See, America created the Nazis. Nazis in, you know, America, businessmen created the Nazis. See, I'm see what y'all talking about in the chat. But somebody said, let me see this. Now that's interesting. Now I'm gonna have to go look up what happened on August the 8th, 1988 at 8 p.m. That's a good damn question. You know, August is Black August, the unofficial Black History Month. But okay, you talking about Grammys. I don't know if the Loneliest Monk ever won a Grammy by Jimmy Lunsford, who was the greatest Black swing band of the 30s and 40s, was the most popular more than Duke Ellington and Count Basie. So, I mean, to me, it's kind of interesting, but we got to get more interest in telling our stories. And we got to really figure out what we want to do for ourselves as a people, as well as individuals, because time's a wasting. So thank you all for listening. Like the words from Brother Herb, please spread the word. We All Be TV on YouTube. You'd like to support the We All Be Info Movement, Cash App, $ R2C2H2, Google Pay, PayPal, and Zelle, R2C2H2 at gmail.com. Vimo at R2C2H2. You can buy Art of His Art, R2C2H2.com. You can even wear Art of His Art. I got the Billie Holiday. I know y'all want their Billie Holiday review on Andra Day. And I hope Andra Day can win that Oscar for Billie Holiday. She did a great job of portraying Billie Holiday. I thought the script could be a little bit better, but she did a great job of portraying Billie Holiday. And I think Chadwick Boseman is going to win Best Supporting Actor. I really do believe that. Is he Best Supporting or Best Lead? I don't know. I don't care. It's the Oscars. Don't mean anything. But I'm read a disclaimer before I get out of here. Thank y'all for being patient and being good sports about everything. I really appreciate y'all. Like I said, I wouldn't be doing a lot of stuff I'd be doing if it wasn't for like people like the fans and stuff like that. Y'all really supporting the channel. And y'all know good well I will be having more than 100,000 subscribers on this thing, man. And I know because I be meeting people. I walk outside. I'm in Memphis or wherever. People know what I do. I met a couple of days ago. They said, "Brother Ron, we are loving the stuff you putting out on YouTube. This is some random stuff." I said, "But why am I not over 100,000? Because they shadow banning me. They've been unsubscribed. Maybe people don't like me. I don't know. That could be it too. But I believe that it's all about design, man. But the truth is the truth. The truth, my truth, does not need to be validated by anybody's ignorance or plan of deception. But the disclaimer: the views expressed by hosts and guests on the We All Be platform are not the official views, opinions, beliefs, or perspectives of We All Be News or the We All Be Group Incorporated. We All Be News is an organization that thoroughly believes in supplementing the information narrative that is usually supplied by the corporate news entities with those viewpoints and expressions which may be marginalized or ignored for a plethora of reasons. We are about informing the general public on alternative perspectives as it relates to news and information, and letting the general public be the ultimate judge in deciding on how to use said information. Informed citizens are responsible citizens. Thank you for your support. So thank you all for rocking with Brother Ron and We All Be. And a lot of y'all been long-time listeners. Trust me, those text messages and voicemails, if y'all can leave them, my voicemail is full. Emails I be getting, donations, they really go a long way. Y'all just don't have no clue. But this too shall pass. So thank you all for rocking with us. And I got some great guests coming up in the very near future. But like I feel like Al Pacino and Godfather. Every time I try to get out, y'all pull me back in. So I thank y'all for keeping me pulled back in. Yeah. Yeah, I think if I was pro Biden, yeah, I agree. But I'm pro black people. I love my black people. Thank y'all. Y'all take care. Be well. Man, I might watch the Oscars. That's the only one I really do watch. Because I don't watch anything. I don't care about all the other ones. Thank y'all for tuning in, man. I appreciate it. Keep making Memphis great, huh? I need to run for office, huh? I mean, I will, that's no, I ain't gonna talk about that right now, but thank y'all. The world's a stage, man. The world's a stage, man. They already told us what time it is. Wow, where? Oh man, you encouraged me. While we're from running. Actually, I wear these. Damn, I don't got it with me. I'll talk about the stuff I've been doing, but I wear these shoes, like 5-finger shoes, like it separates the toes. I wear that a lot to work out. It helps me. It wakes my feet up. Cause thing about black folks and diabetes and the sugars and stuff like that. You get so disconnected from your body because all the stuff that they do to our bodies and what we do to our bodies too. So I'm just trying to reconnect with my body now at 40 something years old. Like I never really been a big fan of my body until now. So I use them shoes to run. I feel everything. It feels great. It helps with my posture and with my running. And man, I gotta take better care of myself because I want to have some kids and knock them out, man. Like Lionel Richie and shit. Keep myself in shape the best I can. I'm trying to age gracefully, you know what I'm saying? I don't know how long I got, but I want to be able to enjoy myself and enjoy myself with other people as long as I can. How about that? But thank y'all. I'm telling y'all too much information. Oh my God. I love y'all, man. Y'all take care of yourselves. We love you madly. Until the next time, we all be in it to win it. Yes.